Welcome everyone to Comics from the Multiverse, episode 417. Do you know, I checked the number a second ago and I panicked because I realized that I checked the last two digits because that's the ones that are important. But just as I was going to say the number, I went, wait a minute, shit. What's the first digit? How many hundreds are we on? I don't remember.
That means we're 101
that's
past
the bit that you should
episode
know by now.
316.
As you can hear from those voices, Matt has made his triumphant return. He's all in, you might say, on comics this week.
Yeah. Straight from the national parks, right back, you know, to the digital. This is not really a park, but, you know.
We're not at the end of that sentence. Okay, also Connor's here, and presumably also all in.
This guy.
Let's say like 80% in.
Yeah, but you're being the show negative, dude. You being all in 80% is still a lot.
That is quite a lot, actually, yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny in the group chat. Tim's asking us questions about things, and it's all going swimmingly until Connor comes in. He's like, "Yeah, news is not good."
Hey, there was some not good news.
He comes barging on in like Kramer.
Look, there was some good stuff. We'll get to it.
Yeah,
There was some stuff that I would not like.
We've got a lot of news to talk about. Luckily, they also put out the solicits, so we could just do the solicits and just talk about them as they appear in the solicits. So it's going to be a meaty solicits this episode. Plus, of course, we got DC Comics to talk about. It's a DC Comics show. Coming up on this week's show, we have Superman 16, Wonder Woman 11, Nightwing 116, Titans 13, Green Lantern War Journal issue 11, Batman Superman World's Finest 29, and Dark Knights of Steel Allwinter issue 1. So that's what's coming up on the show. So, yeah, I mean, we'll make this brief since we do actually have a lot of news to talk about. But, Matt, how was your week?
It was good. I went to Joshua Tree National Park. It was really hot, and it was really humid. And Joshua Tree is very small, so once we were done, there wasn't much to do. So I actually did a lot of napping and reading books, not comic books, but books.
Oh, what books?
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, it was mainly a book more than books, even though I brought way too many. I brought enough like I was crossing the ocean and I was going to be bored, but instead of being gone for 4 days. But I'm reading, it's a book called Raw Dog. It's a history of hot dogs.
Sounds good.
I'm up. Yes, it is. A lot goes into the making of a hot dog, which lost me for a minute.
This is a book that I'm pretty sure a friend of the show, James, has read and has recommended to me before. Mm-hmm. So I probably will check it out at some point.
Yeah. So pretty good. I'm up to the Nathan's Famous contest and how it's essentially pro wrestling, but with eating. So it's like right for me.
I mean, I like to raw dog it, so I mean, it sounds like it's up my alley.
Pete, I didn't need to know that. I really didn't.
Hey, Matt, you should know. Well, the kids are using raw dogging very differently these days.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. I don't like to be around those said kids. So, you know.
Do you know how they're using it now?
Yeah, it's like experiencing life.
Yeah, not being on your phone.
Yeah.
Pete does not raw dog it.
Yeah. You know what? He disappears from Twitter for days at a time, and I get a little bit worried.
Well, here's the thing, though. You can use raw dog in, like, obviously, right?
Why are we talking about
this? The main use, of course, is to have sex without a condom, right? That is, of course, why Matt laughed when I said I like to raw dog it. Although, I feel like all men prefer raw dogging it, so it's not that weird to say it out loud. But, right? I don't know, maybe Matt's weird. Maybe Matt loves the condom. I don't know, right? I don't want to know, actually. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer this because this is private. Anything with my swimsuit area, I'm not discussing on the show. Thank you.
They pay for that. That's bonus content. Anyway.
Yeah, that's Patreon, guys. So actually, don't pay for Patreon thinking you're getting that.
No, pay for Patreon for literally any other reason, but not that.
Yes.
But you could use it to apply to anything. Like let's say you normally take sleeping pills and you say I'm not going to do that today. You could say I'm going to raw dog it to sleep. Yeah. Right? There you go.
Being a straight edge individual, someone has asked me, I don't understand how you raw dog life. and I'm just like, brother,
as someone who drinks, not excessively, but drinks. Okay. That is an insane statement.
Excessively, yeah, sure.
Hey, that is not excessive. My doctor says it's not excessive, so it's fine.
As he takes a swig of what is clearly booze.
A 4% beer, yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's gonna kill me.
We can hope.
I mean, over time,
Sure, there was. You guys might not have seen this because it won't be on your algorithms. There was a study like a week or two ago that was like, if you drank 2 drinks every single day for like your entire life from when you're 18, it would shorten your life expectancy by 2 months. I'm like, do you know what? That's not that much. Considering the amount of alcohol that is over like 80 years, that's not that much. I'm like, oh, that's a reasonable trade.
Connor's like, I'll take that bet and double it.
I will take that. That's a reasonable deal.
All right. I don't know how to move on. Connor, how was your week?
It was a week. I had my birthday, so I was out for that. And then the weather's been hell. It has been literally like being in hell. It's been from the start of the week. It was raining, and that was fine. I was aware of that. And then it has been 28 degrees and humid for the last like 3 days, and I am struggling.
Oh, it's much more mild here. That's not even.
Hold on, let me knock mine into Celsius real quick so I can watch Connor's face now.
Humidity, Matt.
No, yes, I know, but right now we're at 40 degrees in Celsius.
What's your humidity though?
With hold on, I'm looking. We're at 26% humidity.
Yeah, right. So right now I'm at 22 degrees Celsius, but 83% humidity.
And that's you might as well be swimming. You live in Florida?
It feels like it right now.
That's like Florida weather.
It's awful.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Connor's in the UK, so there's no air conditioning. He's raw dogging this weather.
I haven't. In this room, I haven't even got a fan.
Well, the episode has a title now. DC all in and raw dogging.
Hey, yeah, like I would absolutely call it raw dogging the episode, but unfortunately, there's actually big news to title the show this week, which is more clickable. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to go with that.
You say it's more clickable. I think you should do one of those tests where you put alternate titles and see.
The title's all in on raw dogging.
Yep. Most listened to episode ever. Oh, jeez.
Dear.
So, yeah, I did that. I got my eyes tested today for the first time in 15 years. I need glasses. It's shit. I'm miserable. I only need them for concentration tasks, is the way they kept putting it.
I only need them to see.
Yeah. I know I'm short-sighted, and it's not that bad. So only when you're watching TV or on the computer for an extended period of time. I'm like, shit, that's every night.
Oh boy, I've just been blind since I was like 14, so I need glasses to just experience life.
That. I would almost prefer it just to be used to it. Like the fact that now all of a sudden I have to get used to wearing glasses regularly is.
At my worst, I had 2200 vision. So yeah, that was pretty bad.
How?
Well, I didn't know I needed glasses, so my eyes would just adjust, and so I went for my driver's test. And
we ain't giving you this.
Yeah, And my dad thought I was kidding because I couldn't read certain lines. Like I thought they were messing with me. I thought it was one of those tests where I go, "What's the bottom line?" And I go, "There is no bottom line." He's like, "Yeah, no, there's a bottom line, I promise." And I found out I needed corrective lenses. So it was about 15, almost 16 at that point. And they've just been with me the whole time.
All right, let's get a solicits. Well, actually, no. What am I talking about? Oh, that's not first. We've got something more important. We've got something more important to talk about. We got the top 10, the list formerly known as the ComiXology top 10 to do.
So close.
Hey, Matt, remember how 2 weeks ago we were confused as to why they were still split up at like 2 different days? Yeah, that changed the following week. They're now one list. Good to know. So we're gonna do this once. Let's rock it. Okay, but still though, interesting to see how they mix with Marvel. It's back to. It's nice to be back to that again after what 3 years, well 4 years almost of Tuesdays. Tam, have we had more of this show with the books on Tuesday than Wednesday? No, that can't be right. That's about 50-50. Yeah, it's about 50-50 because 2016 to 2020. Yeah, 2020 switch. Pandemic. Because it was during the pandemic that they switched distributors. And it was about the same time that Rebirth started in the year. So yeah, it's about 4 years each. See a date, yeah. But everyone's talking about being like, yeah, it's just been a few years now. I'm like, I'm not going to find the news articles because they're too old, and Google doesn't like showing you old things. No, it was because it was a bit. Because remember they took that month off, which was like March or April, and then they came back in May with the books, and that was like they switched to Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Yeah, they published after supply chain distribution issues in 2020, so it would have been late 2020 whether they switched. I'm guessing.
No, didn't they switch to a new distributor like as soon as they started putting stuff out? Or maybe I'm misremembering that.
They did, but was they on Tuesday straight away, or did they not switch to Tuesdays a little bit later?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but hey, it's close to 50-50. But hey, things are back where they belong. So, let's get a guess then for number 1.
I'll go first to get this over with. I'm gonna guess. Yep. So League of Comic Geeks has a bunch of DC before Marvel, but they've messed me up before. But there's a new X number 1. So I'm gonna guess Phoenix number 1.
Yeah, but I don't think that's that hot.
I don't think so. Well, I mean, she's on fire on the cover, Connor.
Touche.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess Phoenix number 1.
That is incorrect.
I'm going Nightwing. I think Nightwing probably outsells that.
Nightwing is correct. Nightwing is number 1. Number 2 is Phoenix, issue 1. So it's up there.
I'm surprised. I really, because it's not like a crazy anticipated like team on it, and so I thought it'd be lower.
That's X book, I guess.
That's an X sells. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Number 3 is Wonder Woman. Number 4 is Superman, and number 5 is Batman Superman World's Finest. So DC dominating this top 5.
Boom, boom, boom.
And then number 6 is Titans. Number 7 is Invincible Iron Man. Number 8 is Namor, issue 1. Is it Namor or Namor? I always go back and forward.
I don't know, but he seems mostly irrelevant, so...
I always say Namor, but also, why is he guys on book?
Ponytail Aquaman.
Yeah, I don't know. Number 9...
Actually, pretty cool in the second Black Panther movie. It's the most I've ever liked Namor. Stupid little wing feet.
I don't know, Matt. I've not seen it.
Hey, just to change your mind, it's Jason Aaron, right, in that Namor book.
Okay, take back every bad thing I said.
An epic that will redefine the King of the Seas in the manner of Jason Aaron's Punisher series.
I'll tell you what.
No, it won't.
I'll tell you what. I don't care if it's Jason Aaron. I still don't care.
Matt does.
Not really. At that point, they're trying to make him like more gritty. Like that's fine. I like Jason Aaron when he's not doing the ultra violent shtick. So his Thor, I should say ultra violent. Son of Bastards is really good too when it was coming out. So anyways.
Yeah, number 9 is Ultimate X-Men, and then number 10 is Dark Knights of Steel Allwinter. So, yeah, pretty healthy DC top 10 this week. 7 books. 6 books, sorry. 6 books out of the top 10. 4 of which are in the top 5. That ain't too shabby by any means. So, cool. All right. Now we can get on to solicits. So, October solicits are pretty big for this month because this also kind of coincides with Comic-Con and DC announcing a bunch of stuff this week. They're kind of doing a big push, a big line refresh, not a reboot, and some runs are still continuing from what they currently are, but there's some new teams on some books, some new number 1s, and this is kind of their next initiative, like a Rebirth or like a Dawn of DC, where they've got like a label to sort of put everything under and promote as an event of not like a comic book event in the traditional sense, but an event as in like, hey, jumping on point for a bunch of things.
Like it's like a guidepost in the grand scheme of DC.
So this is more like some of the Marvel, like all new, fresh start. Or
yeah, that's true. It's called DC All In. That's what they're going with. That's what they're naming kind of this initiative.
Some damn young bucks. They had a hand in this.
I don't know if that's quicker or longer than I expected Matt to make a wrestling reference because of All In.
It could be co-branded. You're right. They're just a little... The All In that's happening for AEW is happening in like a month and a half. This is happening in October.
They air their weekly show on TNT, or actually not TBS now, but the TBS, which is a Warner Brothers own thing, which also in DC, so who knows, maybe they'll do a bit of cross-promotion or something.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It's possible. It's possible.
It's unlikely, though, isn't it? They don't think ahead and do stuff like
that. No, not Warner.
No.
Warner Discovery is already news is that they might break into subdivisions like they had before, which is like
really, it's almost as if they had a working system for decades.
Jeez.
Right, so we're going to start working through solicits. First up here, and I'll probably read the description for this, well, some of it anyway, to get a sense of what this is. But we have DC All-In Special Issue 1, written by Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson. Art by Daniel Sampere and Wes Craig. So this is a one-shot, 64 pages, $5. Clearly meant to be your Rebirth style one-shot to kind of kick everything off and set up possibly this absolute stuff, which we're getting to in a minute here as well, which we'll talk about. But here's the description on the solicits here. Following the events of DC's blockbuster storyline Absolute Power, the heroes of the core DC universe have fought against the deep divisions in the world around them to usher in a new era of unity. And it's just in time too, because Darkseid has returned.
Somehow.
Do we remember like why he wasn't around?
Yeah, the Dark Crisis. Not Dark Crisis. The lead up to Dark Crisis. The Dark Energy.
Oh, I vaguely remember that now. Yeah, he's crack. Because his crack was a big factor.
Darkseid's crack. Yeah. He was hunting for the crack.
That's right. He had his crack, and then I don't know who's funny to say was raw dogging it, but someone was raw dogging.
I can't remember that event well enough to.
No, can I?
So he ended up dying because the what's his name, Pariah, used that energy. Yeah,
I've learned because I saw people like talking about this announcement right earlier a couple of days ago, and I realized that there's a type of comic book fan on the internet that I'm just not, because one of the first things I saw was someone saying, "Oh God, Darkseid's back already," and my reaction was like,
he left.
He was gone. I just didn't remember that. I'm like, I couldn't get mad at it. I'm like, okay.
That's because in the long run, the vast majority of these, like, especially now they're becoming like annual or even twice a year, these events, they're fine while you're reading them, but they're very forgettable after a year.
We'll talk about it when we get to Nightwing, but they talked about Dead Man, and I completely forgot about that.
Oh my God, yeah. I was like, why are we talking about this? Yeah, so, that was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, that was a lot closer.
But, anyway, so Darkseid's back, and we're good. Yeah, so Superman must gather every hero on Earth to hold the line against a very different version of the Lord of Apocalypse, as they raise our cosmic defenses and prepare for war. And when the first blow lands, shockwaves will ripple through the DCU and shake the nature of their reality to its very core. But little did they know, greater threat is still to come, for there is another Earth, the absolute universe. Absolute and ultimate are very similar words, aren't they?
Yep.
That's all I could think. Here, DC's biggest icons are coming of age with fewer advantages and facing greater opposition than ever before, while miraculously retaining their immutable heroism that inspired fans for decades, blah, blah, blah. All right. So as much as I sound cynical as I read that second half, I will say some of the teams on these new alternate versions of these absolute books are quite intriguing. So I'm not mad. I
would say I'm intrigued in the individual books. This one shot sounds awful. If that at the same time.
It's I mean, honestly, it sounds like it's just going to this one shot sounds like a tease for an event we're going to get in a year.
This sounds like something that should have been a free comic book day issue.
Except it's 60 pages.
Obviously that does kind of.
And art by Sampere. So
Sampere art's not a bad thing. I will say, Scott Snyder being back in mainline DC Comics is obviously he's got a book as well. We'll talk about in a minute, but like that is a bit of a return. He's been gone for a little bit. His Justice League run was quite some time ago now.
Doesn't feel like it.
But it has been like.
No, I know it has. It feels like it's compared to some of the other stuff. It feels like it was more recent, I guess.
I don't know. I do think it feels like a while ago. I feel like we've not seen Snyder in a while.
We haven't, but I think it's just because I think it was a pretty healthy run, right? It was a good amount of issues, so it lives a little bit longer in the memory than pretty much anything else that Justice League's had since.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I think Williamson being the core of this is probably my biggest like.
That is a concern. I think what my real concern is okay. Snyder, we'll get to why, but is probably in charge of the absolute stuff.
Mhm.
Yes.
Which means Williamson's in charge of the mainline stuff. Which, yeah.
Which is funny because I was just saying in the last couple of weeks that I really like the Beast World and now Absolute Power. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what the name was. Like those two back to back, it was really refreshing to have creators I like on the events because I've been really enjoying the last couple of events. So it's just kind of funny that Williamson's just like hovering over like a specter, just waiting to pounce once again.
Remember the start of this show when Matt was so excited for
Oh
Williamson?
yeah, he was like way into Williamson.
Mm-hmm. And then I got through his Flash run, and I got through some of his other stuff, and you realize that this is why you don't worship people, because people are flawed, you know. So
yeah. So yeah, I don't have. I mean, obviously the sort of 2-page cover they've put out of this does look pretty for the most part.
yeah.
It is interesting though because they've actually got some different artists on this based on particularly or at least the design is based on like the absolute Batman, and I feel like because it's Dragotta art that it's based on, he sticks out really like heavily compared to every other character. He's so chunky versus.
I think Absolute Batman is just a chunky boy.
Yeah, hey,
he's a husky. He's built big, built different.
That's fine. A few variants there as well, and they're all like double page things as well. They're all wraparounds.
I really like whatever the second one is. I don't know whose it is, but so the first variant that Newsarama has.
I like the one after that as well with the Darkseid with his Omega beams.
With Darkseid.
It's nice, but I don't think any of them. I think that first one that I said is like leagues above it still.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously something that has to be read if you're keeping up with DC in general, because it's going to set up whatever they're going to be doing for a while and probably tease what the actual real event story is going to be with Darkseid. I imagine next summer would be my guess. That'll be when we finally get to that story that they'll tease for a year. So that's all fine. So that leads us to Absolute Comics, right? Which is, we've got 3 of these so far. Wouldn't surprise me if we see some more over the next few months of Solicits if they introduce some other characters. But we're getting the Trinity and new comics. We're getting Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman. And these range in terms of like excitement depending on how you like the creators. Obviously, they're all effectively just, here's the character, but Bruce Wayne doesn't have money, or here's the character, but Wonder Woman doesn't have Themyscira.
My favorite one is Absolute Batman description. Without the mansion, without the money, without the butler, what's left is the Absolute Dark Knight. I'm like, well, until the last issue of Batman, that was the main line, Bruce, as well.
You're not wrong.
That's a fair point. So
yeah, but this Bruce is a chunky boy, so
he is.
His cardio might not be at it either. He might, he falls.
Does a lot more lifting though.
Yeah.
This is he's a big boy. But the teams on these, so Absolute Batman is Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta, right? Absolute Superman is Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval, which I'm sure is piquing Matt's interest.
Very much.
Although the one that got me excited was Absolute Wonder Woman because Kelly Thompson's got another DC book, and I am pleased with that. Hayden Sherman on the art for this one.
And Wonder Woman has a big ass sword.
Yeah.
You can't see it on that cover, but in a lot of the other promo art. You can see it on the All-In special.
She looks like she's riding a Thestral on that cover. Like it's a big skeletal horse.
Oh yeah, it kind of does.
Right?
Yeah, I would never have known what to call that, but evil-looking Pegasus was where I would probably have went with my description.
So it's pretty clear to me that this is their latest attempt at their Earth 1 equivalents, right?
Yeah, but this is actually like the Ultimate Marvel stuff in that it's actually ongoing comic books.
Yes, as opposed to one OGN like every 3 years.
Right, and this feels like they're all part of the same network, right? Like,
yes.
Yes.
Because it seems like the Absolute Universe seems to be the universe of Without, because that's how all the Solicits are, right? So without the money, and then when he gets to Superman, it's like without the fortress, without the family, and then Wonder Woman was without Island Paradise, without the sisterhood.
It's funny. So, in some ways, it's almost like an even more extreme version than New 52, and we're stripping them of their relationships and all that. But of course, this doesn't piss us off in quite the same way, because this is an addition to still getting the regular universe.
If we don't like this, we can keep reading the other book.
If you don't like Absolute Batman, you can keep reading Zdarsky's Batman.
That's a bad example.
That's the funniest thing Connor's ever said. Because there's some news that's going to come out of this that makes me be like, okay.
Everyone's favorite book, right?
Hey, to be fair, issue 150 was actually his best issue. It was pretty good.
No, I don't think I wouldn't go that far.
I think it was pretty good.
It was okay.
It was pretty good. I'm not saying that it has me hopeful for what's coming next, because I assume it benefited from being a standalone story and didn't have to connect to any of his other shit. But it was pretty good. Okay, he's got it in him. Anyway, so yeah, I do kind of expect that we might see a few more Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Flash, maybe. I don't know. It depends how much they want to expand. I think we'll
probably get 6 issues of these before we get the next ones.
Yeah, I can see that. It is worth mentioning as well that it does seem that they are going to come into play with the main universe in some way because of the all-in stuff. Like, whether that means they're going to end up fighting our heroes at some point down the line, or I don't know. But so it seems like they are going to do some multiverse stuff to actually bring these into a story with the main universe at some point. So,
which has me a little bit. I'm not concerned, but. I'm just like a little bit irritated. Like, can't you just let it be something for a bit first, like before you go? Oh yeah, Jamal, we can. When the sales are dwindling, now we can cash in and cross over.
I know, but it does feel like there's a plan to it, though. It doesn't feel like they're just doing the breaking case of emergency type thing. So even if they just cross over and it's ultimately they split again,
it feels.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, it feels mapped out right now. How long these last will probably depend on how well they sell, how well people like them. Like, I think obviously they'll make it until whatever event they've got planned that they're involved in. Do any of them exist after that as like individual comics? That I think that's just entirely like, and how well do they do up until that point?
I think it's worth noting that whether or not you're excited individually for any of these teams, they are all objectively pretty big names that should sell pretty well, even beyond just it being the Trinity, so they inherently sell quite well anyway. I think they've got high-profile teams on them, which will also drive sales. So, the quality might be, for all we know, it'll be terrible in all three. It's unlikely, but it could be. But I think sales will initially be pretty strong just based off of those teams.
I also think, this is a slightly cynical take on it, but it's a way to have another Bat book, another Super book, and another Wonder book, and those characters, especially Batman, but even Super and Wonder Woman versus a lot of the other characters sell better. So this is another way of saying, hey, we've got more with those characters in it that we can sell. And they're fresh jumping on points as well, so that's also something they love.
That seemed to be the big news coming out, that they kept hitting the jumping on points.
Yes.
So
they've done this before, though. Where they say, oh, yeah, look, this is all a fresh jumping on point. And sometimes it's just not. They just say
something's
that.
a lie, yeah.
So a lot of these books we're going to talk about, there's new teams. Yeah. Obviously, sure, the numbering's continuing, but that is a fresh jumping on point. Some of them will remain to be seen.
Although, I will say, I don't think any comic book publisher is as guilty as this as Square Enix saying that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a fresh jumping on point.
Oh my god, what a lie.
That's the biggest lie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no, that was ballsy to make that statement publicly.
I played the first game and I'm confused. There's no way this is a good jumping on point for anyone else.
It's really, really not.
Matt's alienated. Sorry, Matt, but
that's how I feel when Matt brings up wrestling, so it's fair.
We're fine.
I speak both languages. It's
Matt, do you want to talk sports to alienate people?
No, it's fine.
It didn't come home. I know that much.
It did not come home.
No.
I was at work watching the game. The celebrations for 5 minutes.
Whoa.
Peace.
Look, the only thing I am going to say on this subject, I was not paying attention, but I did see someone take that end screen from Quantum Leap, and it said, "And football never returned home," and I did laugh at that. Because that is funny.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway.
Cool. All right. What's next?
It's all right. It's a work, Connor and Matt. It's I can't think of a video game term to just throw at him for no reason. It's not like wrestling where there's just lots of random like little words that wrestling uses differently from everything else.
Yep, like Connor's a mark.
You're a
That's
mark.
not just wrestling though.
You're a filthy mark.
Oh, the big mark.
Every time I see you even talk about the new Twister movie, I'm like, you are such a mark. You're such a shameless mark. This could be absolute
That's not for
slop.
Twister, that's for Glenn Powell. I'm right there with him.
No, it is both. I already told Ash, be prepared to me for me to be very annoyed. So yes.
Isn't that your default state?
More so. Oh my god,
dear.
Pete! This will do absolutely nothing to tip any spoilers, but I loved it.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Really?
But you also love Kong Sky Island, which is shit. So I mean, that does not fill me with any confidence.
Let's pump the brakes.
Hang on. Let's not go that far. It's not shit. It's good.
I overvalue it. I know this.
It's mediocre. Okay, I'll up it to mediocre, but I'm not saying
That's
good.
fine.
It's still the second best MonsterVerse movie.
That's just a lie. But yes, yeah, I do think Twister 1's a bit overrated. Right, I'm just going to say that.
Look. When it comes to Twister, I understand that I love that movie more than almost anybody. I understand that. You know, I was talking to people at work about it, and they don't love Bill Paxton in it like I do.
Oh, I love Bill
Paxton.
Paxton. I think Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt elevate the shit out of that movie.
Yes.
But I feel like people in our age range put that movie on a pedestal, and I just don't think it deserves to be on a pedestal.
I haven't seen that because, again, I thought I was the only weirdo out on Twister Island. You're telling me there's a whole tail section out there, and I just need to find them.
Yeah,
so
it's fun.
which is great.
It's a fun movie.
Anyways, guess what? Also, Glenn Powell. Am I looking for cowboy hats now? Maybe.
You want to become Dave Filoni?
Well, maybe that too. Right, come on. He's kind of
not really alienated, Pete.
Yeah. Anyways, Connor, we'll talk about the Acolyte or lack thereof later. Yeah. Anyways, what's next in the
Star Wars, Pete. Don't worry about it.
Okay, fine. Let's move on to some good news. And good news that I believe we predicted.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Kind of.
Well, when I just read the solicit, it made me less excited. But we'll get there.
I trust them. I trust them. Okay.
Yes. I know, but still.
Right. Detective Comics 1090, start of the new run. We have Tom Taylor with Mikkel Janin on the new run. I think when we were theorizing who could take over for Ram V, we were like, hey, Taylor's Nightwing run's coming to an end. He could very easily be that stepping up to that book. And here it is, plain as day. Super excited.
I would say I'm a little bit disappointed about Janin, and not because I dislike it. Like, I love Janin art, but I've got a lot of Janin Batman work already over the years. I would have liked someone new and different.
No, but you say that, but I am not used to Janin on traditional Batman, right?
What do you mean? He was on Scott Snyder's traditional Batman for years.
But like as the main artist, or was he popping in and out?
I think he did a good amount in the back half, didn't he? Like he did like.
I put a lot of that behind me.
Oh, in the back half, you're talking about when the Robo-Bat bunny thing was a thing? I mean, I'm not counting that.
He did a lot when Capullo wasn't on it. He was like the second artist I think of with that one.
I'm just saying that I love what Tom Taylor did with Nightwing. I liked what Janin did with Grayson. So now you're going to have them do Bruce in Detective, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Also, there is a couple of great variants on this as well.
I really like the last one.
Yeah. That last one, whoever that one is fantastic.
Well, it's that gothic one where he looks like he's hanging.
Yeah, the really scratchy one. I'm assuming that's the Ashley Wood one just because it's last.
The Smallwood one from the page before, or the variant before. At least I think that's Smallwood. It looks Smallwood.
Yeah. Looks Smallwood.
Yeah.
It's very square jaw.
Yeah.
Batman.
Smallwood's not listed in the covers.
He's not, but I'm pretty sure I saw him tweet this cover out. So.
Oh well, fair enough.
So I think that's just an absence because there's more variants there than there is variant covers.
I'm looking at the signature at the bottom. That looks like a P that it starts with. So is that not? I don't know. It doesn't look like Panosian style though, but that's the only one there with a P.
Yeah, it looks Spalswoody. I thought I saw him tweet this. Maybe I'm imagining things, but I thought. Anyway, yeah. I mean, the description is just the generic, like something from Batman's past, when the day he became Batman is coming back to haunt him, right?
I see the names Thomas and Martha and
I know.
I immediately want to throw bricks.
I think this is just generic solicit text. I'm not.
Yeah. Again, like you said, I trust we trust Taylor. He is our patron saint on the show, right?
I trust Taylor. And not only that,
yes.
I actually checked the cover. What I did is I went to League of Comic Geeks, who have all the solicits up on there already with the covers with the artists listed. It's shockingly they've got it listed as Bruno Redondo.
oh, that's the Redondo cover.
That's the Redondo.
I can see how that cover would be Redondo.
I guess I can.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't feel bad for thinking that was Smallwood though. It's got a very Smallwoody kind of.
It is Smallwoody, but I was like, that signature does not match. But, yeah.
Oh man, remember Human Target?
It's not a P as well though, just for the record.
No, it's a B going into an R, which is hey, come on, that tiny amount, like that looks like a P.
Right. Anyway,
the man needs glasses, Pete. Cut him a break.
Christ.
Regardless, that it's small on Newsarab, I can see it clear on League Comic Geeks.
Anyway,
okay.
What I was going to say to actually make a goddamn point about this is that not only have we seen him what he's done with Dick Grayson, we've even seen him add stuff into Dick Grayson's origin and it feel natural and feel good. Everything with Heartless and how he ties into the day Dick's parents died was actually really effective and well done. So he's earned a good amount of trust.
Yes, but I'm still cautious with all this stuff ever since that night in Crime Alley. I'm like,
I'm keeping the bricks close in case I have to throw them through a window.
All I'm saying is we're seeing pearls.
We probably will. The first goddamn panel's probably pearls crashing on the alley ground, right? It's probably happening.
Yeah.
But I still have a modicum of faith that Taylor's going to do just fine with a Batman run.
Overall, I'm still optimistic, but
yeah.
I think this is just a case of like a super generic solicit text that Taylor himself probably didn't write. Right? This is probably some intern writing the solicit text out. I don't know. Anywho, as Detective, big new run, exciting. Absolute Power issue 4, which I'm assuming is the last issue, given that All In's a thing this month.
The shocking grand finale to the Absolute Power saga.
There you go.
So yeah.
Obviously that's Waid and Mora, as we expect. So cool. Batman 153, Chip Zdarsky, Jorge Jimenez, still on their run, but it is a new arc, of course, beginning with this issue.
Yeah. And it's goddamn double shipping.
I might be out on Batman, guys. If I have to pick between Absolute Batman and Zdarsky Batman, the choice is not difficult.
I mean, you don't have to pick between them necessarily yet, Matt. We're not at that point. We're in the solicits. You're jumping the gun because you always jump the gun. Calm down.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Matt doesn't drop books. He just reads more and more, even when he's miserable.
Yes.
You know what? I'll show you. I'm going to stop reading Batman.
All right. I'll believe when I see it.
He's not.
Wait, what's this? Who's Commander Star? I need to know.
I'm not even reading the solicit text.
Come on, DJ Domenico on the second issue.
154, yeah. And Superman 19, start of a new arc. It's still Williamson, though, although Dan Mora is joining him on Superman.
Hey!
And also Lois Lane is now Superwoman, so that's a thing that's happening. Well, hold on a second. That was New 52 Lois Lane you're thinking of last time.
Yes, but still,
It's more just we're doing quite interesting stuff with Lois right now. Making her the editor. I hate this angle. I just conceptually hate this angle.
I'm not saying I love it. I was just correcting something you said that was incorrect because I enjoy doing that. But
it wasn't incorrect.
Technically, it was.
No, it wasn't. It was Lois again.
That was New 52 Lois.
Still Lois.
No, regular Lois still exists at the same time.
Look, Williamson's taking a beating on here lately. However, I'm reading the solicit and I just got excited. So
you fool. You're going to be so disappointed.
Yes.
This is how he gets you. The start of every arc.
Yeah, look, you're giving me Time Trapper and Superwoman Lois? Come on.
20 seconds ago, you were going, "Oh, Superwoman Lois."
No, I didn't do that. Pete did that. I didn't mind. I don't mind Superwoman Lois. I thought that Superwoman book was great, but it also transitioned to a Lana Lang Superwoman thing. That was a very fun book.
They've really been desperate for Superwoman over the last few years, haven't they?
So, But yes.
Wonder Woman 14, new arc beginning. Still Tom King that was run, of course, with Daniel Sampier back on art after the 3 issues of tie-in issues. So
Yeah.
cool. Wonder Woman Uncovered issue 1, which I'm assuming is a selection of covers. Yep.
Yeah.
Action Comics 1070. So this is actually notable because this is shipping weekly just for October. This is.
Is it definitely just for October?
The weekly part is for sure, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything that mentioned like how long it was weekly for.
Yeah, I think it's just for October, and I'm also assuming that the teams on this is just for October. I kind of hope I'm wrong though, because I actually really like the fact that Mark Waid's on Action Comics, but it's Mark Waid doing the main story and Mariko Tamaki doing the backup, so that's a win-win as far as I'm concerned on writers.
Is that Mon-El on the cover?
That looks like Mon-El. I've seen a Mon-El.
Count me in.
Yeah. Clayton Henry, unfortunately, on art, which I'm not.
Oh, Mon-El's gonna have a massive forehead.
Tamaki's backup's a Supergirl story as well.
Hey, let's go.
So
with Skylar Patridge too. That's good.
Yeah. So actions and nice hands for October, seemingly. So yeah, that's weekly in October for 4 issues. Then we have Nightwing 119. With their new team starting, because obviously Taylor's final issue was just before this, so yes, Matt, why are you laughing?
Because if there's any way to get Connor to read a book, you put this team together, and it just happens to be on Nightwing, which is a book he was already gonna read.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna read this book anyway, but I do like this team.
Yeah, so we have Dan Waters writing, and we have, of course, famously from a Red Hood book fame, is Dexter Soy.
Hey, he was the one good thing about that book for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor goes, I hate what I'm reading, but it looks so pretty.
So yeah. There's a selection of covers here as well, of course. The main one's quite good. It's I mean, honestly, like, I've loved Taylor's run. It's been like an all-timer kind of Nightwing run for me. So this has got a lot to live up to, but it's definitely an interesting set of names. I'm definitely, like, Dan Waters, I mean, I don't think he's done like a main ongoing superhero book at DC. He's done, minis, he's done short stories and things like that, but I don't think he's taken a character's main book before.
His backups that have centered around like Bat characters, like the side ones. So he's done some Azrael. He did some of the cast stuff.
He's done quite a bit of Azrael stuff.
Yeah,
he had a couple of minis.
I really like that. So
yeah, it feels like if Taylor's been promoted from Nightwing to Detective, it feels like Dan Waters has been promoted from those stories to Nightwing.
It's like smaller Bat family to main Bat family.
Yes.
Kind of.
It feels like hockey, where you start off in the the rookie league, and now this is the AHL.
Yeah.
So
I saw some people on Twitter are complaining, saying that they put a team of nobodies on this book, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
To who?
Yeah, I'm like, what? Dan Waters is okay. Sure, he's not as big a name as some of the others that were, Tom Taylor, for example, like he's taken over, but he's by no means like a no name at this point. And Dexter Soy has been around at DC for years.
I mean, at one point, Tom Taylor was a name that people would go, who? And now he, people come after him stupidly online for nothing. You know what I mean? So, just let the... anyways.
Yeah.
Dan Waters did that Dark Side special, right? The King of Hell?
Ooh,
is that him?
Maybe.
Yeah, that was really good, too.
That sounds vaguely right. Yeah, so there you go. New Nightwing run kicking off with issue 119 in October. We have Harley Quinn 44, which is written by Elliot Kalan and art by Mindy Lee. That sounds like a completely new team to me.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
The writer has come from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, boy.
That's an interesting pull. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
In the not-too-distant future, Nixon the AD. No one else know the lyrics to the theme song? Okay.
Do not.
All right.
It's interesting that that's notably a comedy writer that they've got on this book.
Yeah.
This is the important thing to take away from that, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a smart move for Harley. Unless you're trying to do a more serious Harley story like a Harleen or something like that, that probably is the right.
But for this sort of mainline book, a comedy writer works, I think, in theory.
Yep. Poison Ivy's continuing with G. Willow Wilson and
Takara on art.
Remember when this was a 6-issue mini at one point?
Yeah.
It just does not end anymore.
Yeah, well, no, let's be honest. This is still going because a lot of perverts buy all the variants, and it keeps it making a lot of money.
No, I don't. I mean, perverts.
Yeah. Helps that it's a really good book as well, though.
It does. Like, yeah, it's
Yes.
that Frisian cover. I just
I haven't seen it yet.
keep them
Matt,
coming.
Oh my god!
When you're reading your issue of Poison Ivy, Matt, do you put on like a pair of like gloves, like an auctioneer's pair of gloves to sort of preserve
Not
it?
anymore because they get in the way.
So you raw dog it.
Yeah. God damn it. Walked right into that one.
Sometimes I'm just a little proud of myself.
You should be.
Catwoman 69. We have
nice.
okay, Toran Grumbeck. That's my best attempt at that. And Fabian Mascolo on the art. It's a new team here on Catwoman because I did not recognize either of those names.
I've seen the Grumbeck name, but that might have just been an Allwinter as one of the characters. That's a very Viking. It's a very Viking name.
Been working at Marvel for a few years. She's written some Thor. Yeah, I know. And I think she's written some of the Jane Foster Valkyrie stuff, and then a few other bits pieces. Like, enough that I've read a handful of at least issues of her stuff, and I don't have any like strong impressions, but I don't remember hating any of it, which is a good start.
Yeah, so apparently someone tries to assassinate Selena Kyle, and this is about her sort of trying to figure out who's launching a manhunt against her. Or a woman hunt. That's not really a term, I guess. Green Lantern 16, Jeremy Adams, still on the book, thankfully. It makes sense because it was still a pretty young run, but I guess I was a little bit worried if they were refreshing things that this might have got hit, but it didn't.
Keeping Zamanico on art as well.
Yeah, also good. Also good. In fact, probably the one benefit of having the books tie into the event for a couple of months is that it's letting all the regular artists get ahead. So that's the one plus to that. Speaking of Green Lantern, though, we have Green Lantern Civil Core Special Issue 1. One shot by two interesting writers. So Jeremy Adams, who's writing the main Green Lantern book, and Philip Kennedy Johnson as the other writer listed here. That's cool, because obviously he's been doing War Journal, which is coming to an end with the next issue.
This feels like it might follow up on some of that stuff, because
I can see that.
Tharos and all that, and the Dark Star Reign. Like, there's obviously it talks about Jon Stewart, so there's enough in here that makes me think it's going to follow up some of those threads. Yeah,
I've got a feeling, because it says here it'll launch the Green Lanterns into a direction that'll change DC forever, blah, blah, blah. I suspect that the next Solicits might have a new Green Lantern book or two announced.
I think we might get Green Lantern Corps. And I think, judging from the fact that Philip Kennedy Johnson's on this, I think we can expect him on another Green Lantern book following.
I wouldn't be surprised. Green Arrow 350, which, by the way, confirms that my legacy numbering that I worked out for this is correct. It's correct.
Pat yourself on the back.
I went and checked it when I saw this.
So you're going to be reading them this, Pete, to celebrate?
It's still Williamson, so no, you can go F yourself, Matt, and you can read it.
That said, though, it's Williamson's last issue, and it mentions Chris Condon, who, by the sounds of it, is taking over the book from the following issue.
Yeah.
Get ready for the opening chapter of Emerald Archer's next adventure from writer Chris Condon, who has an Enfield Gang Massacre.
And Montos is doing the art with him. Okay, all right. Yeah. Maybe I'll read the second story in this.
Yes, that was my plan.
Yes.
I think Montos is an interesting choice for Green Arrow.
It's interesting.
They don't work out.
Wait, is this just like, does he just really like green because he was doing Green Lantern before? So he's
maybe he's only got green pens.
I think he's gonna change up the mood over there at Green Arrow. So let's do it.
Bizarrely, though, there is another Williamson Green Arrow issue to talk about because there's the annual that's also coming out in October by Williamson.
A week later. So we think we're double Williamson, but he goes, haha, I got you.
Yeah.
Always more Williamson.
Yep. Flash 14. Unfortunately, Cy Spurrier's still on the book. With
a lot of fun on Twitter.
I was gonna say, you know what? If I was enjoying this more, which I'm still gonna keep reading Flash because I've red hooded this. Yeah, I can't. I need to know what's happening. Spurrier has had the most fun of this. Of like, I hope I can live up to the previous team. It's so funny. So
so the one sort of casualty of these refreshes that I kind of encountered that kind of bummed me out is that Taylor's not on Titans, because Titans issue 16 is John Layman with Pete Woods on art. Obviously, I'll still give it a try. Like, I'm not just instantly mad, but it's a shame. I was hoping Taylor would have a Nightwing length run on in Titans. So
I would say there's two possibilities. Is either he's got another book that's not announced yet because it's part of the next wave, or in the same way that they're like weekly shipping action, maybe they're planning on occasionally weekly shipping Detective or even just double shipping it. And so he's freeing up his time ready for that.
I could see that. I definitely think there's a good chance that the reason why he's off Titans is because he's got another book that's going to be announced in the month or two after.
I will say, though, I haven't seen John Layman writing in a while. So it'll be close to how this is. It's been a while.
Yeah, so hopefully it's still good. I've liked how Titans has felt like it's an important book at DC recently. So it'd be a shame if that kind of simmers and goes off, but hope for the best. So here's an interesting new team, actually. This is a positive one. Williamson's off a book. So Batman and Robin 14 is going to be by Philip Kennedy Johnson and art by Javier Fernandez. So I would never have predicted Johnson going to Batman and Robin as his next ongoing
I'm here for it, though.
But it sounds great.
So I just remember because I went back at the end of Warworld and I was reading back through some of the stuff, and I had forgotten he had done it was the daughter of Batman and Talia as one of the main villains at the end of Action Comics. So it feels like, not necessarily this will tie into all of that, but he does have a tie there to Damian and stuff.
It's kind of funny, though, that he's doing Batman and Robin, and we're speculating that he might be on a Green Lantern Corps book of some kind. He's basically just Tomasi and Gleason about 15 years ago.
It's true. It's very true.
Then we got Birds of Prey 14. This is one that's untouched. It's the start of a new arc, which also pleased me to see that we're not just winding down on the book.
Well, I think the thing is that pretty much all the start of new arcs this month. That's the whole all-in thing.
Well, fair. But I guess what I'm saying is that I thought, with Kelly on a different book, maybe they'd wrap this up. Or
no, you're probably getting to at least 20 issues at this point.
I suspect so, given that this is 14. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Nice to see that going. Batman.
Did you see that? Oh. Did you see that Batgirl cover
of Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
I did not.
That was nice.
Yeah. So the red background. Yeah.
I think Pete's favorite will be the one after, though.
You're mean.
That's super anime.
That's not anime. That's chibi.
I mean, that's anime to me.
See?
That's completely different.
Yeah. See, he's a mark.
I'm sorry, but they are two completely different styles.
They all look the same to me. Oh, that sounded bad.
That sounds very bad, Matt. Why do you think that? Oh dear. Batman Brave and the Bold 18. It's got a Jeremy Adams story in it, as well as Christian Ward. So
all right.
Yeah. We got Batman Superman World's Finest 32. This is Mark Waid with Adrian Gutierrez on
From
there.
Blue Beetle. So that's exciting. That means seems like Waid was reading Blue Beetle. I was like, hey, give me this artist. I don't know. That's how it went down. That's how I thought it went down.
But sure. Yeah. Obviously, he's on Action as well alongside this, so plenty of Waid still coming October. Power Girl 14, still Leah Williams.
Wow, that's still going. I'm shocked.
Shazam 16, so that's still going with Josie Campbell and Lupacino on that.
Yeah.
So
I like that book, but I'm also shocked that's going as well. Like Shazam books tend to not live this long.
I'm also pleasantly surprised because it's not been as good as when Waid was on it, but it's been really solid. I've been really enjoying it still.
So that's one of those things where we're just gonna be like, we'll not keep bringing this up and just like Josie Campbell keep writing. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna bring up that this is going because I'm enjoying what's going on, and it looks like Freddy on the cover is back in his Captain Marvel Jr. costume.
Yeah, but that's a variant though, so that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a thing.
It does mention Freddy's new powers in the
fair enough.
in the solicit text.
Okay, well, I'm here for that.
Yeah, sure. I know no complaints. And I know Josie Campbell's been doing the tie-in to that Superman animated show comic, but I'm hoping when that's wrapped up that.
I think she writes on that show as well.
No, she does. Yeah. But I'm saying that I hope when that wraps up, she gets another book at DC.
Yeah.
We got Batman: The Long Halloween, the last Halloween issue too. Obviously, this popped up last solicits. I'm here for this, good or bad. I can't wait to dig into
Different
this.
artist every issue. Klaus Janson this time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Not gonna be mad at that. Not gonna be mad at that.
And then here's the other big new announcement, actually. So this is a little separate from, the in universe. I mean, I guess this will probably still be in continuity per se, but it's a story of the early days. We've got a new Year One comic starting, and that is Batman and Robin Year One by Mark Waid, which is already a plus, and then Chris Samney on art, which seems like a...
Samney's the real draw for me.
I mean, they were a great fit together on Daredevil.
So if Daredevil's red Batman, does that make when Samney drives Batman, is he blue Daredevil?
Well, it depends, it depends if he's got the blue variant or not. If he's black and grey, then I guess you got to call him...
Yeah.
He looks black and grey on that cover, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
but this is very exciting. This news came out pretty early in the week.
Which, it doesn't mention it here, but I'm pretty sure when the announcement came out, it said 12 issues, so I say.
That it was a maxi.
It was 12, yeah.
All right, cool. And then something else for Matt, because he wants more Poison Ivy.
So I didn't know about this, and now I'm beyond stoked.
Yeah,
man.
Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees. This appears to be a one-shot, 48 pages. It's G. Willow-Wilson with Mike Perkins on the art. So you got a Swamp Thing veteran.
And it sounds like they're doing a horror story.
Yeah.
Hell, even I may read this just because it sounds
also,
good.
Some of those covers are gorgeous. The second cover in particular.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That one's great.
Yeah, I don't know what it says about me that the sexy lady that isn't a draw, but the monster is like, yeah, give it to me.
Look, and if you're like me, you just you like both. Give me monsters and give me the pretty lady.
And then just to sort of wrap up some things here, we have Multiverses, Collision Detection, a few issues of that by Brian Q. Miller, who I would love to be on a regular book again, but
how has he been locked down on this ship for so long?
I know, because he was doing Smallville comics for like years at one point. Yeah. It's so weird.
Maybe he just has a really good day job, and he writes because for fun,
I just give him a fun little book that's not like this weird.
Has he had a mainline book since his Batgirl?
I don't think so. Not at DC. Definitely not at DC.
Yeah, I meant at DC.
And that's 15 years now. Well, since it ended, probably more like 14, but still.
Yeah.
DC Horror Presents issue 1. This is written by the Bullet brothers and David Dasmalkian, who I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's the guy from Late Night with the Devil. You've seen him in a bunch of movies. In fact, he's in The Dark Knight actually for a relevant
in The Dark Knight
one.
And he's in Ant-Man. Well, 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's also in Suicide Squad, like the newer
Suicide
one.
Squad.
Yeah,
he's Polka Dot Man.
Yes. So, yeah.
Cool.
It's a horror book. I've got a few horror books.
This one's an anthology. This one.
Yes. Yeah. And then you got DC Horror Presents Creature Commandos issue 1, which is also David Dasmalkian.
Dasmalkian.
Aye.
So pretend the T's not there.
And Jesus Hervas on the art. And then we have Green Lantern Dark issue 1, written by Tate.
Is possibly the most exciting thing in the solicits for me.
Okay, written by Tate Brombal and art by Weather's Originals. No, Weather del Idera.
Yeah. So Tate Brombal's been doing a lot of stuff with Tom Taylor in the Something's Killing the Children universe. And he's been working on...
Wait, Tom Taylor?
Oh, sorry, Tynan.
I was going to say, that's not Taylor.
Wait, what did I miss?
It's because I was reading down the solicits and saw Tom Taylor's name. So with Tynan, he's been working on a lot of that, and a lot of Tynan's creator-owned stuff he's actually been given to Brombal to work on. The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher something. Whatever, it's a long title, but it's a good, solid book. Brombal's been on that, and Werther Delandro's been on a lot of that as well. So I'm very excited for this.
I mean, I'm into a post-apocalyptic Black Label / Elseworld Green Lantern story. Like, that sounds fun. I didn't really know the names, the creators involved, but it's 7 issues, bi-monthly.
Double-sized.
Yep, so that's like 14 issues worth of stuff over... Oh, actually, over about that many months, actually. It's just releasing every other month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the Tangent universe, too. Because
It is,
that
yeah.
version of Green Lantern. Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it says at the bottom of the solicits.
Oh, cool. I was saying, it looked like the Tangent universe Green Lantern, so being all post-apocalyptic, I thought they were just maybe taking liberties with the look of it all. But yeah. It also mentions Solomon Grundy's Undead Army, which sign me up, please.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this seems pretty good.
Yeah, weird little like sort of thing no one was expecting, but
yeah,
sounds like it'll space up the whatever week it's on with something a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Gotham by Gaslight: The Kryptonian Age, issue 5. So which has been surprisingly solid. Nothing like we were discussing last week with issue 2. It's not what any of us expected it to be at all, but certainly interesting.
It looks like it might be getting more towards what we were expecting, judging by this cover.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I got to go back and read that second issue. I didn't get caught up on that one, so.
Yeah. Things get even weirder, Matt.
Perfect.
Then Dark Knights of Steel Allwinter issue 4. We'll be talking about the first issue of that later today, so look out for that. Speaking of sequels to these Elseworld things, we got DC versus Vampires World War V issue 3. That rhymes. Also, I can't see World War V without thinking about the boys because of Gen V and all that stuff.
That makes sense.
But yes, so cool. And then we got Batman Full Moon issue 1.
I didn't see this. What the hell's this?
Let's go.
So werewolf in the cover.
Batman werewolf?
So it's Rodney Barnes writing with Steven Subic on the arts. 4 issues.
I'm guessing that's Subic.
Subic, yeah. It's a 4-issue book. I'll just read the description since everyone's so interested. An ancient and supernatural force stalks the streets of Gotham City. A Lycan so powerful that it'll defy Batman's most trusted resources, his brilliant mind and extensive gadgetry. Gadgetry.
Gadgetry.
But are Batman's physical strength and resilience alone enough to put the creature down for good? Or will this fight strip him down to his very bones? Even powerful magical allies like Zatanna caution that Bruce may not walk away from this unscathed. So yes, Batman versus a werewolf.
Sold.
It's as straightforward as it sounded based on that cover, but...
Hey, but that cover is gorgeous.
Yes, yeah, black and white cover with just Batman
I hope
up
it's a
top.
black and white book.
I love werewolves. I tolerate Batman. I am here for this.
I tolerate Batman, says the man who's been reading multiple Batman books for 8 years.
Yeah, that's me tolerating.
Oh, dear.
Look, I'm just saying, when I was challenged to name my favorite Batman, I made a top 5 without including Bruce Wayne. I'm just saying.
Some fun covers for this as well. Like, I mean, obviously the main one's fantastic, but the other ones all look really good too.
The 4th cover I really like. It looks like an old pulpy,
And the rain.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like the cover you'd get on an issue of Batman in the 70s.
And then there's a Francavilla one with the shadows of Batman and the wolf on the wall. That also looks great. Oh geez, Nice House by the Sea issue 4. Obviously we're looking forward to that. I mean, issue 4, that must mean we're getting to issue 1 soon, based on the time frame of solicits. Plastic Man No More issue 2. I forgot this was a thing. So much stuff in the solicits, but
me too.
Cool.
Pleasantly surprised to see Campbell's name there because I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, that's issue 2 of 4. Jenny Sparks issue 3. That's your next. Tom King takes a smaller character and gives them the mini treatment. And then Zatanna Bringing Down the House issue 5, which is the final issue of that miniseries coming in October. We got John Constantine Hellblazer Dead in America issue 10. Nothing says a good title like... technically it's not 2 colons, one's a comma, but it's the same thing. Okay?
Yes.
It's still just as awkward to say.
Connor, is there a reason they can't just call him Hellblazer?
No, I think they did do a Hellblazer. They tried to do a Hellblazer and it just didn't sell as well, so they put the John Constantine name on it. I think it's after the show, and then he was showing up a lot in the CW shows.
Gotcha.
I think just name recognition meant that they sold more with his name than without it.
So I'm saying, just calling this Hellblazer Dead in America might have been the move, but if it's sales,
I think so. And now they've just decided to stick with it because why risk it?
That makes sense.
Yeah. My Adventures with Superman issue 5. That's that Josie Campbell book that's tying into the animated show. And then there's DC from the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives issue 4, which is this weird like alternate history thing they're doing. And then we got some facsimile editions: Batman 237, Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 7, Hawkman 4, then Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries 10, Scooby-Doo Where Are You 130, and that takes us on to the collections. We got Sandman, the Complete Shakespeare Collection, which is just 96 pages, so whatever that is.
Strange. It's there's a couple of issues with Shakespeare in, and like a couple with his plays that they use. So
okay,
it's just kind of those. It's a weird collection, but okay.
Teen Titans Go on TV. There's Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night. This was the thing that was coming out from Jeff Parker last Christmas season. So
that was fun. I liked it.
It makes sense to kind of hold this until it's just before Christmas time.
It's coming out around end of November. It's a perfect time for it.
Yeah. Red Hood Outlaws 3, Volume 3. Connor's.
See, this is that Webtoons one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
22. So Connor, what's this book like?
I don't know. I didn't have the misfortune.
Okay. Well, you guys heard him.
But I'm going to say on a limb, probably better than Red Hood and the Outlaws was for a decade.
Batman Detective Comics Volume 4, Gotham Nocturne, Intermezzo, Batman Outlaw. Okay, that's too many. That's too many different parts of a title.
That was 3 colons.
3 colons and a comma. Jesus. All right.
It was like 3 Men and a Baby, but for wordsmiths.
Nightwing Volume 6, Standing on the Edge.
What cover?
Yeah, Taylor's next thingamajig. And then you got Superman Volume 3, Justice Reborn.
That is not what a cover.
I don't remember one of the arcs being called Justice Reborn. Was that? Is that what they called one of those arcs with Williamson?
This looks like this is this arc we just started this.
Yeah, it's Absolute Power must be. Yeah.
Ah. Fair enough.
They're soliciting that fast, aren't
they? Yeah, they are. Wonder Woman Volume 2, Sacrifice. That's Tom King's Volume 2. Flash Volume 2, Until Time Stands Still. That's Spurrier's run. Harley Quinn Volume 2, I Don't Like Me. Again, just next volume. The Witching Hour 2024 edition. This is Jeff Loeb. With Chris Bacallo and Art Thibbert. I don't know, I don't think I'm familiar with this actually, to be honest.
It's a Vertigo book.
Vertigo mini.
Yeah.
DC's Finest Catwoman Lifelines.
The hell is in that?
Couple of different miniseries.
Catwoman Year 1. It says, following in the footsteps of Batman Year 1, witness the birth of a legend. So
yeah, but it's like 1 to 4 of Catwoman, then 1 to 12 of another Catwoman book, and then
an annual, and then a Batman Catwoman issue, and then stories from Action Comics Weekly and Showcase Night. Wow, that's a mess of a trade, that.
I mean, I'm going to assume that the main Year 1 story is just the 1 to 12 book, and everything else is just sort of supplemental, like we might as well throw this in as well. Obviously it's related, but I imagine the actual Year 1 story is just the 1 to 12. I could be wrong though. I
don't think it was ever published as Catwoman Year 1 though, so I think they're just cashing in.
I mean, to be fair, they're not calling it that in the trade either. They're just calling it Lifelines. But
yeah. So they can save it for an actual Year 1.
Yeah, they can just do it down the line when they want to. DC's Finest, Justice League of America, The Bridge Between Earths. This is a soft cover with some late 1960s stories. So cool. DC's Finest, Green Lantern, The Defeat of the Green Lantern again. So I think these are Silver Age.
The Silver Age, smaller collections in the giant books, but it's still like
600
pages. Yeah.
Pretty hefty.
I feel like define smaller.
Yeah, this seems like the sort of thing where if you want to be like actually reading all of the runs, then these are probably bad choices. But if this is just like a big taster, admittedly, but if you just want to give someone like a taster,
I think these are the whole runs. I think there's probably a first volume of each of these, because what it's collecting is all in order.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize because they weren't numbered. It just says Defeat a Green Lantern.
So the Justice League one collects 45 to 72. Green Lantern is 19 to 39.
Sure. Yeah.
An issue of Flash and Brave and the Bold.
I honestly didn't realize they were doing like a new run of these older stories. But yeah, they're doing 0 Hour Part 1, which is the first half of all that stuff.
Jesus, look at that mess.
It's a lot of different issues. Well, a lot of different series.
I have a name.
Sorry, Matt.
It's alright, it's alright. I'm not even listing all these. There's a Flash one, there's a Legion of Superheroes one, and there's another JSA one. So
that Legion, that was the first of the modern Legion. That was when Jim Shooter took it over as a fan. So, if you wanted to start the Legion as we kind of know it now, this would be a nice jumping on.
Superman Kryptonite Deluxe Edition, Darwin Cook and Tim Sale. New hardcover edition of that.
That makes me sad, because both of those guys are gone.
But the work lives on.
Elseworld Superman Volume 2, new printing. Death and Return of Superman 30th Anniversary Collection.
Got another one.
Well, this is only 184 pages, so this is...
Yeah, this was the thing that they did. This is like a...
Yes.
Oh, actually, I might have that.
Yeah.
I do have that. I think it's this one. Oh, that's just the death. The death of Superman 30th. They give me that for free with my DC subscription.
Yeah, why else would you have that, Connor?
Yeah, they also gave me, you're gonna love this, because you get one every year that you resubscribe. Yeah. So the other year was the Batman Who Laughs Deluxe Edition. Yeah.
Oh, they know their audience.
That would have been only funnier if it was like a hardcover of Red Hood.
Yeah. Oh, next year.
Oh dear. Superman Volume 1 Supercorp softcover. Batman by Tom King Book 1. So they're doing 600-page softcovers of that run. So.
Oh, and there you go. Ganin's on that run as well as one of the main artists.
Yes. But that's not Snyder, that's King.
No, he was on some. I thought he was definitely on some of the Snyder stuff.
He was, yeah. I remember being on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I was saying earlier. I feel like I've got a lot of mainline Batman already out of him. I would have liked someone fresh.
But have you gotten it written by Tom Taylor?
Well, if you ask some people, not yet.
All right, Batman, Bruce Wayne, murderer turned fugitive omnibus. Okay, that's funny to me because they've always been collected as separate chapters. So there's always Batman, Bruce Wayne, murderer, and then there's fugitive volumes, usually 1 through 3. I think was the original collection.
Oh my God, look at how many pages that is.
Yeah, it's an omnibus. Yeah,
I know, but even for an omnibus, that's still.
Keep in mind if you buy that, what's his name? Failsafe, not Kill Switch. It's a different guy. Failsafe will come after you.
It's 1,100 or so pages. That's not too bad. I think up to 1,200 is okay. It's a bit thick. Don't get me wrong, but this is nothing like that Teen Titans by John's omnibus.
Oh, that's 1,600 pages. Or whatever it was. Yeah, that was stupid.
You could, if you swung this at somebody, make yourself a murderer turned fugitive.
Yeah.
My go-to example has always been you could kill a horse with that.
Yeah.
I've never actually read through the fugitive
me neither. I should probably
or era, whatever you want to
when
call
you get
it.
this omnibus and then put yourself through all 1,100 pages.
That's probably every week I talk to Connor when he's on the show. It gets me a little bit closer to wanting to sign up for the DC Infinite.
This will be on there.
Yeah, it should already be on there, right? Because they just
the trades already will be.
Yeah. So
when it comes to digital books, like them reprinting a new like format doesn't really change the digital that much. So you're not really missing out on anything.
So with this specifically, it's never existed as an omnibus before. So because this isn't a reprint, so this collection won't be on there yet. So, but what will be on there is the individual softcover trades that have already collected these separately. But once this is out, after like a month, they will add that omnibus version as well. Because they have in each like series, when you're on the app, there is the single issues, there's the collected trades, and the omnibus is all listed separately to make it easy to find which massive version you want to jump into.
Right.
Okay. Batman the Cult 2024 edition. A lot of collections this month as well. Dark Knights of Steel Volume 2 softcover. Deathstroke the Terminator by Marv Wolfman Omnibus Volume 1. Oh, that's 900 pages, that one.
That's a good size for an omnibus, that.
Sure. So that's your classic Deathstroke stuff. I'll be honest, I don't think I realized there was so much just like, because obviously Wolfman did a lot of stuff with Deathstroke and Teen Titans and stuff like that. I don't think I realized there was such a long Deathstroke run from that time period. So interesting. Injustice Gods Among Us Compendium 1.
This is worse than the Omnis. Yeah. I'm sorry, I take it back.
1,000-page hardcover with nice sewn binding, perfectly fine. 1,000-page soft cover where the spine's just going to crease the first time you read it.
Unreadable.
And it looks like, isn't it a little bit bigger than normal too? Because it says it's 6 5/8 by 10 by 3/16.
That's the normal softcover size.
Is that normal softcover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not even a little bit bigger to help out.
No, this is the same compendium. I think it's the compendiums that Kirkman kind of popularized with his
Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead and the Invincible compendiums. They're about this size because they're about 50 issues at each one.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever saw anything like that in a softcover. Multiversity, Harley screws up the DCU softcover. Joe the Barbarian 2024 edition. This is a Grant Morrison book. I remember this existing. I never read it, but I'm familiar with it.
He doesn't look like a barbarian.
Just keep reading.
Outsiders Volume 1, that's the current Outsiders book. Collecting the first 6 issues. I got Poison Ivy Volume 4, Origins of the Species, obviously the current run. Suicide Squad Dream Team, which is obviously that mini-series that's been just wrapping up, I think. Or is it still going? It may still be going.
I think it finished because it was a lead into Absolute Power.
Absolute Promethea Book 1. This is Alan Moore.
Well, he's going to hate that.
Yeah, he probably will hate that.
You could basically say that with a lot of things, but especially reprinting his old work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that finally wraps up the solicits. That was a lot of that. Usually the collection section is not nowhere near as long as that.
Collection section.
Yeah, just some extra bits. Obviously, we mentioned a lot of books in there.
Yeah.
But we know there's still more books to be announced because there are a lot of creators tweeting, hey, I've got all-in stuff coming.
Yes.
But they tweeted that out before these solicits, and we were all thinking, oh, maybe they're in there. And then they weren't. One of the big notable ones is Ramby. So we know he's got a book coming. It's just not this month.
I'd be surprised if he didn't. I feel like he's one of those big writers at DC now, and after doing a detective run, I suspect he will be on something. Maybe even a couple of things, depending.
We can hope.
I think probably not as much. I'm only expecting one because he tends to do a good couple of creator-owned things at the same time. I know he had a kid in the last couple of years that slowed down his work. Like he put out things in. Yeah, it's kind of fairly slowed down his work rate.
That's just inconsiderate.
It is, yeah. That's not interested.
Nah, he's just doing it.
Everyone knows how I stand on kids and how they ruin lives, so.
I agree.
And yet, all the raw dogging. It's weird.
Bring it back.
All right, that's the solicits done for the month. We can get into the books. Superman, issue 16, legacy number 859. Joshua Williamson writing with Jamal Campbell on the art. So this is a tie-in to Absolute Power. It does seem like the next couple of issues are going to be tie-in issues as well.
Felt like Absolute Power 1.5.
It did.
For the first big section of it.
The funny thing is, though, is that for this book, that's an improvement. So
yeah, true.
I was kind of into it, to be honest, because this felt like a classic tie-in issue to me, where and I don't want all the main books to tie into the events when they're on, because that's a pain for lots of reasons. But I don't mind a couple of them doing it when it does feel like it's fleshing out the world a little bit, and I feel like this one fleshed out the world.
I would hate it less if. Not that I explicitly hate this issue for the, that was Paul worded, but I hate those situations less if they just give this a separate mini. It's an Absolute Power Superman, and it can be a 3-issue mini that sits alongside it.
I mean, if you don't want to do that, though, I do like the fact that, Superman gets shot and we see him fall and whatever. And so I do like in his own book, we get to pick up the pieces there, right? So I'm sure it'll be fine by the time Absolute Power 2 comes out. Like, you'll be able to pick better. Mark Waid's a good enough writer to fill in those gaps. But I do like here that in Superman, we follow what's going on with him.
Yeah. I also think that unlike whatever the Task Force 7 issue 1 was last week, this actually feels like it's not necessary. I'm sure the main event will still read fine without this, But this did feel like at least like there's planning going on between the writers where they've actually thought about like how this can add to the main story and how it's actually putting some things in. And to an extent, also Wonder Woman when we get to that. Although I don't think that one's quite as effective as this one is. But it feels like at the very least some writers have sat together. They've talked about what they're doing with the event and what the other characters can be doing, and some key plot details that are set up in this that will ricochet back into the main book. And probably why it was so important to have these be on time with the main book, because I assume that the next issue will probably be set after issue 2 of Absolute Power, I would assume. So
what do you guys think of that Task Force 7? Are you going to keep going?
Well, what's so funny is that I didn't really like it, but then we checked the creative teams for the rest of the issues, and most of them have more promising teams on them.
Okay.
I think there's the first 2 had really mediocre teams on it, and then there was like 3 or 4 that had quite good-looking teams.
Yeah, because it didn't really work for me either. So it was one of the ones I did read, and I was like, I like all these characters. I do not like this premise right now.
It was just fluff. It was just a fluffy tie-in issue that didn't really add much. So this one actually starts like a kind of with a cold open where you're like, oh, what's going on here? This is like young Clark doing a magic show for his parents. What's this? But then, you know, everything turns red. He sees blood on his shirt. He's got red on him. And that, you know, it's, oh, no, he has been shot. We're setting this after Absolute Power issue 1. This is like sort of in his head as he's been worked on by Dr. Midnight and Mr. Terrific. And, yeah, it's like other characters trying to figure out what the hell do we do to try and save Superman.
I did not like this dialogue for Dr. Midnight here, because he's like a legit professional medical doctor. He operates on people. I know. Yeah, sure. Oh, this is Superman. It's different. But the fact that he's like, "How are you so calm?" to Mr. Terrific, who's not traditionally a medical doctor. Like that's not his specialty.
He's the world's third smartest man.
Yeah,
he's a doctor.
I hated this. Like that is completely the wrong way around for me.
That's fair. It's been a while since I've read Dr. Midnight, so it didn't stick out to me, but I can't really argue with the logic of that. So, anywho, yeah, like, so the art here is obviously great. Jamal Campbell.
Whoa, no, disagree. This is the worst Campbell I've ever seen in my life. It's horrific.
Of course, Connor's on the show. Here we go.
Sometimes I miss Connor because I like Connor. He's a friend of mine, but then we start talking comics and I don't miss him at all.
I'm sorry, but every single character looks like they're pasted in onto a pre-rendered background. Every single one.
I like that Amanda Waller. It really sets the mood when you turn the page and she's bathed in purple because she's got all the screens behind her. I think that looks really cool.
I like that panel.
Look down that page, the third panel. Yeah. He just looks like he's not in that panel. Whoever that is talking in the purple light, he's not in that panel. He is just cut and pasted onto it.
No, I like that panel because he's not in the light. It's showing you that he's out.
Yeah, but like, it's every panel, they all look, go down a panel. Every single character just looks like they're not in the scene. They just look like they're pasted on top of it.
I don't know. I can't follow you on this one.
It looks terrible.
There are some for depth, right? Where like where we get the Zatanna reveal, and she pokes through the top. But I think that's for effect, right?
That panel, right, of Zatanna turning around with the lights on her, right, against the wall. That's a great panel.
Okay, but go to the page before. Seriously, go to the page before that one and look at the middle strip on the left. Zatanna there with that black outline. She's just pasted on. Like there's no depth, there's no blending of the scene. It just looks like characters on a background. It looks like they're in front of a matte painting. Like that's what it looks like an old TV show or movie where you have people in front of a matte background. That's what this looks like to me. It looks awful.
I don't think that looks bad. Yeah, I don't think that looks bad at all.
I don't see that.
I thought this looked terrible.
No, that didn't. No, I have some of the issues with the composition that they get a little bit busy, but but other than that, I'm not getting the flat background thing.
Here's what gets me on this, right? Is that it's not just that he comes in and he's got a bit of a nitpick. He comes in with, "This is awful. This is the worst I've ever seen."
from specifically from Campbell, I expect higher. And
I mean, honestly, I understand that. I understand thinking that of expecting higher. However,
it made this issue borderline unreadable for me because I could not get through a page without it being the.
Did you read this after you had your eyes dilated? Maybe that's the problem?
No.
Okay.
I read all my comics before that this week because I was prepared.
Well, shoot.
Oh,
Okay.
bloody hell.
Maybe that's. But anyways.
Anyway, right. Okay. So what's actually happening here is that obviously the Amazos and people who are working for Waller are hunting down more superheroes, metahumans, magic users, whoever.
Yeah. They say anybody that has a skill set that will prevent Waller from winning, they're going after.
Yes, even if you're a vigilante with no powers, you still count because you're one of them. And the corner Zatanna in this alleyway, she's trying to use magic to open up like a magic hidden door, but it's not working because all her magic's been taken. And that's where we get this reveal. And there's a quick little flashback that basically shows that when they were teenagers, Bruce said, "Hey, you can't use magic for everything." She's like, "What, you going to show me how to throw a punch?" Cut back to the present day scene, and she beats the shit out of two of the soldiers.
So real quick, when she goes to open the door, right? Because I'm not thinking this is Zatanna right off the bat. I'm like, oh, who's this mystery woman? And it says Nepo, and I was like, wow, who is she calling a Nepo baby in this panel? Right? I hate that modern culture has done this to me. Because normally I should think like, oh, Zatanna's a guest star in this. I should read that as open. But no, my stupid self read this as Nepo and got very confused. Like, Robin is nowhere in here, you know? Like, so, but anyways.
Such a mad
and when we're going to talk about the art, I can definitely see that it's not perfect. I would say it's not Campbell's, like, top of the line stuff, because when we get to some of these other pages with the backgrounds, and there's a lot of rush lines and color play and that type of stuff, like, it's a little bit too busy for me.
Sure.
But other than that, I think it's still pretty solid Jamal Campbell, especially the colors when we get like to the fortress and it cools down. I think his style, to me at least, always has lent itself to the cooler colors. So when it gets blown out with oranges and yellows and stuff like that, I don't know, it loses something.
Yeah, Mercy kind of sort of rappels in and grabs Zatanna and says she's got somewhere safe to go, and she's like, "Where the hell's safe now?" Smash cut to the Fortress of Solitude, with whatever heroes who have not been taken or still aren't scattered are there. So we see Dick and Cass are in the background, Starfire's there, a few others.
Looks like you got Atom Smasher.
Dinah's, I think, standing there.
Yara, I'm trying to think. So, yeah.
And Blue Beetle is being a little shit and picking a fight with Red Tornado because robots are behind us, and Red Tornado takes offense and they start having a shouting match. So, Jesus, Connor.
Usually it's me with the snorting, and it's Connor with the breathing.
Yeah, I'm not used to this not having the pop shield.
Oh, dear. But Superman comes out and breaks up the fight. He's woken up. He's been patched up. He's in his black and silver, recuperation suit.
For reasons.
Here's my thing. And again, I understand why. You go with the visual. However, we have the whole part with Mr. Terrific and Dr. Midnight being like, yeah, he's still the Man of Steel. We don't know how this lasts. He could get his powers back. So that's why they're using the kryptonite scalpel on him. There's nothing that says that this Kryptonian recovery suit's going to work any better.
I don't think that's the reason for it. I think there's okay, I'm sure you can tell me that's the in story reason, but I think there's a legitimately real reason that Williamson has chosen this, and it's because a few pages later Zatanna starts saying, "Hey, you've died. You're close to death," and I think this is a visual reminder of that story. So everyone's like, just to get you like in the mindset. Of, oh yeah, Superman has died.
That's fine, as long as it wasn't just the member berries thing, which is how I originally took it.
There's a thematic link here, because Zatanna starts talking about these hidden magical passageways that people sometimes stumble into, but you don't actually have to have magic to access them. And people who are more attuned to it are people who have either had near-death experiences or actually died, and Superman's kind of done both. So they set up, they've got this plan to like get around the world using these hidden passageways to try and find people and whatever. And there's a whole little moment where Superman says he's proud of Mercy or whatever for doing stuff, and gives her a mission to find someone. Importantly, meanwhile at the Supercorp building, Jimmy, Silver Banshee, and Lena and Lex, who has no memory of who he is, are snipping
Lex with the red beard coming into very, very distinct look.
This shows just how forgettable I found Williamson's story. Is that it took me a second to go, wait, what? And I went, oh yeah, that's right. He said, who's Lex Luthor at the end of that last arc? It took me a second.
You know, my favorite part of this is I haven't read the last issue of Superman yet. I went, it's fine. I'm sure I'll manage.
Yeah, you're fine.
I was like, okay, I'll just roll with it.
You just have to know that Waller has the Brainiac Queen, and
I didn't know. I knew nothing from that issue going into this, and I feel like I missed nothing. Like,
well, that's all. It launched at the end, and it did the whole Superman thing, right? And then Waller gets it. So
I will say, Lex has grown a beard pretty quickly because he did not have that beard in that last issue of Superman.
So I'm wondering how much time is in between these stories, or if he
short beard at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is short. It kind of threw me. I don't remember Lex with the beard when he doesn't have the long, flowy red hair, like in the Death of Superman, right? So that was definitely a choice. But I also love the idea of Lex just following them around because he doesn't know who he is. He's like, yeah, all right, lady that says you're my daughter, I'll come with you.
Yeah, but it was the sort of thing where I was trying to figure out who the last character was, and because the beard, I didn't just immediately think Lex. And then obviously someone referred to him or as whatever, and I'm like, oh, amnesia. Oh dear. And then Peacemaker and his team show up, and they're like, you're idiots for coming back here because this is such a dumb place to be. And I was like, yeah, you're right. This was a dumb place to come back to.
I hate this type of dialogue where they just like instead of writing around the plot contrivance, they just have a character point out and go, hey, isn't this stupid? And we're supposed to just go, okay, then at least they're aware of it. Like, no, you're aware of it. Write better.
Yeah. They're there though because they're looking for some Lex armor or something to help them fight. And the twist at the end, or the reveal at the end, is that Lois comes out wearing this white and red Superman style armor, like an Iron Man suit, basically.
Yeah, it looks like Lex's suit instead of the suit that he wore when he was Superman at the end of was that New 52? Into Rebirth.
Kinda. I mean, it's a very different color scheme.
His was blue. Yeah, his was blue and red. This is of that same style. But I do like hear what Peace Record tells Jimmy, right? And we all know that Jimmy is a hero. Right?
I'm so glad Matt remembered what Lady Peacemaker was called.
I was going to call her Lady Peacemaker.
It's only because wrecking is the opposite of making, and that's why those two work. So he makes peace, she wrecks peace. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes this work.
Yay. And we all have our mnemonic devices. Mnemonic.
I mean,
mnemonic.
If she said what's the opposite of making to me, I'd probably say like disassembling or breaking. Yeah.
Right. And what is disassembling? Then not.
Why wouldn't you say peace breaker? And you could
take that up.
That sounds better, actually. Peace breaker sounds better.
With Josh Williamson. I don't know.
I'd love to.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I like what hear the whole dynamic with Jimmy. Right, and I feel like that's some of the stuff that we're gonna get in Absolute Power, where she's like, you're feeling brave because he tries to save Silver Banshee from them, and she's like, even in a world without powers, you're still a loser, but at least you'll be a martyr, right? But it just shows that, like, yeah, even if these people don't have powers, someone like Jimmy that is so ingratiated to the heroes isn't gonna let this stuff slide. Right? It doesn't matter if he has powers or not. It's right or wrong. So I do like that the average, kind of person is taking that swing here. So I appreciate Williamson for throwing that in.
Yeah, overall, I did kind of like this issue. It's not an amazing issue by any means, but I liked it because it felt like it just it gave me a nice vibe of what the feeling on the street is right now. Like Zatanna like sneaking around alleyways, the team coming after her, Mercy coming out to save her, establishes where some of the heroes are right now, what some of the plan is going forward. Just getting a vibe of like the status quo everywhere, because obviously the event's all the big bombastic stuff and it has to move through all the plot beats. This is a chance to slow down and just sort of take, okay, what does it actually feel like right now in the DCU?
Yeah, because that scene where they're sneaking into Supercourt and you have the Last Sun android flying around and they're ducking and hiding from it and stuff too. That was like a nice tone setter.
Yeah. So not essential, but I would say this is a pretty decent tie-in issue into an event, as opposed to that Task Force 7 issue last week, which was just
rough times.
Yeah. So, and I do think the Jamal Campbell art's pretty good, despite Connor's reservations.
I like his Zatanna.
I am amazed that this is a hot. I thought that we would. I honestly read this and thought we'd be in agreement.
Like, of course you did.
You've been gone for a while.
I know, but like, I genuinely, I read this and I was like, I had to double check it was Jamal Campbell because I didn't believe it.
Oh,
I was
no,
genuinely
you can tell.
shocked at how bad I thought it was, and I thought for sure everyone was going to see this.
Mm.
And yeah,
I do
I'm
not.
baffled.
You know, like, I don't think it's his best work. So when you said it's not my favorite Jamal Campbell, I was like, yes. But then you're like, worst of all time. No. But yeah, no, that's still pretty. It's still pretty decent.
All right,
Yeah.
Matt, what are you rating Superman?
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Connor?
I'm bringing my trademark high scoring here. Solid 5.
I actually also think 7. I think 7 is exactly where I was feeling as well. Not a must read by any means, but I think it's a nice companion to the event that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, very good. When I say very good, I don't mean the book's very good. I mean a very good time to move on. Like, you know, like, yeah, just well, don't want anyone misconstruing what I'm saying here. Wonder Woman issue 11, legacy number 811, Tom King writing with Tony S. Daniel on the art. So, well, Superman was a step up from the regular Williamson stuff doing the event tie-in. This is the opposite, where it's a downturn because I love Tom King's Wonder Woman run, and then this is like, I mean, this is okay. It's not terrible, but it's...
I will tell you, my biggest takeaway from this is I never want to read Charles Dickens.
I actually have to confess, after about 4 pages, I stopped
reading it too.
Yeah, I stopped reading the robot's dialogue because I just...
Me too.
Yeah, I don't need to read it. I get it. He's quoting something. It doesn't matter. I'll just read. Detective Chimp figures it all out. I'll read his findings.
What got me too was the clicks and the ticks. It made it hard to to get a reading rhythm.
That's what the problem was. Is that it was just really annoying to read it with all those extra little bits. So what was weird about this is that the Task Force 7 issue 1 from last week actually set after this issue, which was a little confusing at first.
Yep.
Because this starts off, Wonder Woman's chilling with Detective Chimp. I actually didn't realize right away that it was Billy Batson that was sitting here.
Okay.
Because there was nothing to really go on, No. In the first page, but yeah. So Madame Zadu's there, Constantine's there, Mary Marvel's there as well, and they're basically just playing cards. There's some banter, and then an Amazo robot shows up to fight them, particularly to come after Wonder Woman. And most of the issue is the fight, right? And it's establishing some key things to the characters, namely that because the robot has drained Constantine of his magic powers, he then uses a Constantine-style spell to teleport the captain all the way to France. So then Wonder Woman realizes this and is like, "Oh, hey, Spectre, don't." He's also there, by the way. Spectre.
Yeah, he was. I thought it was Jason Blood, right? Because of the white hair, and it turns out that it's
Corrigan.
It's whoever the Spectre is right now. I forget the name.
Yeah, Jim Corrigan. They say the name.
Corrigan. Thank you. Yeah, it was Corrigan.
So it's mostly fighting this issue, so it doesn't feel as substantial and like it's fleshing things out as much as the Superman tie-in issue is. It feels a bit more like, oh, there's a lot of action. The artist is getting to spread some, and the art's only okay, to be fair.
Yeah, that's Tony S. Daniel's a pretty decent artist. I just hear it. I don't think it's his top-notch work. It feels very much like fill-in.
Joe, what's really strange about it is that I actually thought the first few pages where they were just sitting at the table and like they were making the little wisecracks, I thought those pages looked really good. I thought the page where they're all standing up and ready to fight looked good. But once the fighting started is where I felt it started to fall a little bit flat for me, because all of a sudden the faces weren't as well defined and they didn't look as good. The layouts weren't... Well, the actual layout of the panels were fine, but it was just the actual...
bridging of the action and whatnot to them. It's a little bit off. That said, he draws a really good Detective Chimp. I'll give him that. Detective Chimp looks pretty great in most of the panels that he's in. But yeah. Yeah, honestly, I have very little to add to this, because it basically just ends in a place where Billy and Mary like go back to kid form, and Wonder Woman tells them to run away because they're kind of like they're more vulnerable as superheroes right now. So they run off. I did like a little moment towards the end where you hear the sound effect, and it's actually Detective Chimp just making monkey noises How do you make Detective Chip more of a threat as you take away his intellect and just turn him into a regular chimpanzee? You know, and he's trying to rip the face off the Amazo.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. That was probably my favorite element in this issue.
But then the issue just ends. Like, there's no like build up to a good climax. It didn't really feel like a final page. It's just like all of a sudden the to be continued text was at the bottom of the panel, and I went, okay, like. I enjoyed the first couple of pages because of the banter between characters, but like the rest of it was just a bunch of fighting. It didn't really add anything that we didn't already know to the story of Absolute Power. So
it is making me ask questions about these Amazos, right? Because like we saw in that Task Force 7 one that it took on the elements of the super family, and then here this one takes on elements of Diana once it grabs the lasso, right? So I wonder what's going on with these Amazos. So at least pushing that part of the story is working.
Well, I think the problem with that is, though, the main way it does that is this thing where it keeps quoting Dickinson, and that's Dickens, sorry, and that's fine, but that was the annoying part to read. So I wasn't sitting going, oh, what does this mean? Is there thematic links about what's going on in this quoted text from the novel or whatever? Instead, I was just like, oh, this is annoying. I'm not going to read these bubbles. So.
Yeah, but it's when it absorbs the lasso, right? As it's quoting best of times, worst of times, right? Then it takes on that form of this Wonder Woman themed Amazo robot. So that's what I mean by that. Like, what is going on with these more? Yeah. But they're taking on the aspects of only certain things. It's absorbed, you know, Constantine and the Shazam, both of them, Mary and Billy, before it even gets to the lasso's power.
Yeah, I think the difference between this and Superman is Superman was given as a taste of the world after the issue of Absolute Power. This instead went back into like before the end of Absolute Power and just gave us one of those fights for the entire issue. And that was far less interesting. It didn't really add that much to the overall story. So I hope the next issue of this does something a bit more interesting with how it maybe focuses on Diana without her powers or whatever. I don't know, but hopefully it's a little bit better than this. So so hit and miss with the event tie-ins, but
did you read the backup?
I did read the backup. Obviously, the backup is the normal backup. It's the young Lizzie with the Damien and John, and I couldn't help but feel that this entire backup was making fun of Taylor Swift fans.
I don't know if it's making fun of Taylor Swift fans, but it's pointing out the cultish devotion to Taylor Swift, which I thought was funny. To
explain the plot of this, young Lizzie is standing in line at a concert with Damien and John, and Damien's complaining because he finds this music to be, well, shit. And it's clear from the way Lizzie's dressed that this is Black Canary, right? This is a Black Canary concert. And they're going in, and Damien's just criticizing the music and everything else, but they've got, like, reserved seats because, you know, hey, their parents are in the Justice League. They've got connections to Black Canary, right?
The thing that I like here's his rationalization is my mother kind of knows Dinah's manager. She killed some people for him, right? Because so Talia, there was a hit that the manager called in, and so the league dealt with it, and now you know, you can free tickets forever.
Also, your aunt's like Barbara Gordon, and it's like her best friend. Maybe that would also be a route Damien to take.
Here's my thing on this too: is I understand they wanted to make the Black Canary as a rock star thing, and Dinah. I don't know how this fits into her character though. You know, with the birds and all of that other stuff.
I don't think it does. I think it's just for the joke of the story.
And that's fine, because I remember the DCU, the YOU. That was a mini or a maxi. It was a limited series.
To be honest, though,
was pretty good.
Yeah, to be honest, though, the idea that this is still regular Dinah, and I think it makes what happens funnier, that Damien's basically trash talking her until she comes out on stage, and then his eyes widen and he's in love because Dinah's this beautiful woman to him, and he's somehow still a teenager despite the fact that Lizzie's already like 12 or something. That's weird.
I feel like something they're gonna show with Lizzie. I don't think she's aging at a normal pace. Judging by the art, I don't think. Yeah,
she probably jumps to like 8 immediately or something like that. I don't know, but.
And so whenever she ages, like John, because we've seen John and Damien a little bit older when she's like, she looks like she's closer to her 20s, and they look like they're in their late 20s. So I'm sure at first I thought that was a flaw in Ortega's art. Now I think it's a stylistic choice, right?
Yeah,
It's telling us something about the story.
Anyway, the joke is that Damien basically falls in love and is just staring at her with the big goo eyes the entire concert, which is why I say it's funnier to me if this is still the Dinah who works with their parents all the time, because like this effectively could be another auntie to him, but he just doesn't have that connection, so he's just fallen in love with this grown woman, and when she notices him in the crowd and asks him up on stage and says, "Hey, come up and help me. What's your name, Damien? Oh, hey, I always thought it'd be fun to have a sidekick. Would you like to be my Robin?" And he just like melts.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just funny to see Damien lost for words, you know, have him be humbled, kind of thing. And then the joke at the end is that he's singing. Well, not the end, but when they leave the concert, he starts singing the songs that she was singing. So now John's the one that's left.
Like a green arrow.
Yeah, now John's the one that feels like left out, because he was sticking up for Lizzie's obsession before, but now it's weird. And then the final joke is that they're in a big fight with Mongol, and Mongol's like, "Hey, I already fought your parents. I'm going to kill this generation." And basically, Damien and Lizzie are just talking about the new album or whatever. And eventually Mongol stops fighting and starts debating with them on the new Black Canary album, or what the best Black Canary album is. And the final panel is just John looking confused and like, what the hell? That's the whole joke.
I love that he goes, you have to forgive them, they're canaries. And Mongo's just like, they are? And then he starts melting about that. And I thought that was real funny. I wish there was a credit to Mitch Gerrits, because you know he was the source for all things Taylor Swift. For King, when King's writing this,
I don't know.
You know,
the word
I'll back Matt up on that.
Referring to the fans as canaries just sounded all like Swifties to me. So I just
that's 100% of what it is. But when you look at some of the stuff they're saying, if you are cued into Taylor Swift, it is clearly like King's writing with that knowledge in mind, and he doesn't strike me as somebody, or who, you know. Even his kids might not even be Swifties, but Gerrits is his longtime, you know, collaborative partner. So, so there's just stuff in here about the she's going back and adding bonus tracks and re-releasing stuff. There's stuff in the concert that are, you know, again, if you know, you know, but if not, I don't think it gets in the way.
I mean, I didn't know
the delivery.
So, which is why I summed all that dialogue up as they're talking about an album or something.
Yeah. So, but I thought it was very funny. It was much more of an enjoyable read than the main part.
Yeah, because this isn't taking a break. This is still just doing the regular backup. It's not the best backup they've done. I mean, the Kite Man one last time was way funnier to me. Yeah, but still entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Hell yeah. What are you rating Wonder Woman, Matt?
I'm gonna give this I'll also go 7 on this one. And it's mostly for the backup.
Yeah, I can't rate it the same as Superman. I think the backup will probably eke it up to a 6, but
there you go.
Yeah, definitely not as effective as a tie-in to the event as Superman was, which is weird to say, but it is what it is. I guess we just have to struggle another couple of months before we're back to the main story. So, Nightwing 116, legacy number 303, Tom Taylor writing with Bruno Redondo on art. And I want to give this issue some credit because, and admittedly, if I'd been paying attention to the cover, I probably wouldn't have had this moment. But this book made me pop twice. Right? There was one towards the end, which we'll get to. The first one, though, is fairly early on. There's the whole bit with all the news reporters asking about Dick Grayson being arrested and blah, blah, blah. But once Dick escapes and he goes to meet Babs and they're, talking about what the plans are, and he's like, and he's getting patched up and he's like, I have to take this journey on my own, not with you. I have to go to the man who taught me how to, remove my fear as a kid from falling. And she's like, but wouldn't he, like, what age would he be now? He's like, oh, that doesn't matter. He's dead. And she's confused, right? And then it goes to a flashback of, this man comes in and sits down with Dick and is, like, talking to him about, like, removing his fear. And the whole time, so the whole time I'm in my head, I'm thinking, okay, you're interested in a character and his backstory. I don't know if I'm loving this. And then it got to the bottom of that the page of that conversation, and he just said what his name was, and I went, oh, okay, you're interested in a character and his backstory. I don't know if I'm loving this. And then it got to the bottom of that the page of that conversation, and he just said what his name was, and I went, oh, okay, you're interested in a character and his backstory. I don't know if I'm loving this. And then it got to the bottom of that the page of that conversation, and he just said what his name was, and I went, oh, this makes way more sense. This is much better.
I like how he also introduced himself like he's James Bond.
Right. So Pete, this tells me you don't remember things that we talk about because
That's
last
probably
month,
true.
For Nightwing, when we're going over that whole he fell and mom and dad and they're gonna have to bring in somebody because they know another acrobat. I go, you want to make a bet that it's Boston Brand? And you're like, oh yeah, that's smart. That's probably so.
I don't remember
that just
that
tells me
at
that
You don't remember telling Matt that he was smart?
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely don't remember that.
Yeah. So
no, I popped when it got to the end of this scene because not only was it just fun because Dead Man's cool, but it was also fun because it was like, oh, instead of this feeling like in the last arc of the run we're introducing a new character in Dick's backstory, it was like, oh no, this is actually kind of cool, and it also makes sense why Babs was like the whole he's dead thing. It's like, that makes all sense now.
He is dead. Yeah.
Perfect.
I love though that that they play with the fact that he was an acrobat, and of course he'd have some ties to Haley Circus, right? Like just the type of guy that Boston Brand was from.
I like the idea that even though he's dead, he's like, can you do me a favor? Can you just like borrow a body and come to just fill in for a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no sweat.
Also, do you notice young Dick's shirt during that scene?
Oh, I'm way ahead of that page now. Let me go back.
Yeah. So, anyways,
go on.
It's the Gray Ghost from the animated series. So I thought that's a nice little touch there. I don't know if that's Redondo or Taylor, but either way, I thought that was a fun little.
It's probably Redondo. It's something that's not going to be in the script notes. Yeah. Something like that.
So Dick goes on his journey, but obviously the tease back at the start of the arc where he gets a boat with B, and then he takes a train, and he eventually goes up to Nana Parbat, and that's where Boston Brand is. And bit of comedy here. I did get a good laugh out of this, where he's like, "But you're supposed to collapse and then wake up looking at me and thinking, am I dead?" And he's like, "I do a lot of cardio. I'm sorry I didn't collapse. Okay, can we move on with this?"
I came prepared for the journey, and I do a lot of cardio. That was real good.
I got a chuckle out of me. So obviously there's a lot of big stuff here with Heartless actually still claiming he's Dick Grayson now, right? He's really sort of hammering that home to the public and putting out this video saying that all the superheroes, the Titans specifically, have to leave Bloodhaven, and that he's got people, infiltrated out of the police, he's got supporters in every part of the infrastructure and all the rest of it. Although he does invite Nightwing to stay, which is interesting because obviously he knows Nightwing is Dick Grayson, but he's claiming to be Dick Grayson, so there's some levels to that, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. But he also knows that Nightwing is broken.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah.
So he thinks he's got an easy win here.
Yep.
But the other time I popped though was for the ending, which is so Bloodhaven, of course, is in dire straits, and the only superhero that's allowed to be in Bloodhaven is Nightwing. The solution to this is we go to Babs and Bruce, right? Babs and Batman, and Batman's like, "Dick's done this for me multiple times. Bloodhaven needs its hero. Final page is Bruce as Nightwing."
You know how we were talking about how the absolute Batman is a chunky boy?
Oh yeah, he looks chunky.
Bruce in this outfit is pretty chunky.
But
I hate how much I love this page.
It's so good. Yes, go on.
Have you seen Redondo? He did the back. He did the reverse as like a joke, like a little sketch of how Bruce has to wear this suit because it's too small. It's very funny.
Well, I saw one where he's dressed as Robin. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, there was that he did. Maybe I'm confusing them because maybe he did that one. But there was another one that came up with this, and it was.
I don't even think it was him that did it, though. I think someone else replaced this with him as Robin.
What would it look like if he was in the Robin outfit?
And then Redondo retweeted it and said, "What have I done?" or something to that effect.
I saw that, but I didn't see the Redondo retweet. I just saw, because Twitter algorithm, I just saw the original one on my timeline. Before I'd read this comic, I had no context. I was like, that's a weird thing for Twitter to be on this week, but whatever.
Wait, so when they were building up to this last page, were you thinking he's going to be Robin?
I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten I'd seen that by the time I was reading it. It was only after I got to the end I was like, that explains the Twitter.
This was good. I mean, obviously, the implications of this are interesting because Heartless knows that, like, he'll know this isn't Dick. Like, he'll be able to tell now that he knows Dick's Nightwing. So that'll be interesting to see. But
it's like, will Heartless tip his hand? Right?
You can't call him out because then he's admitting that he knows.
Right.
Yep. That was the other thing that made me pop, actually, now I'm thinking about it, is when Dick's talking to Babs, and Babs is like, hey, we might have to, one of the ways we can clear your name is to kind of admit that you're Nightwing, is to let the city know. And he basically says, no, we can't do that because I'm too connected to everyone else in the Bat family, so no, like, that's just a bad idea. And then Babs is like, no, Bruce is the first one that suggested it. And Cass, Steph, Jason...
Basically,
Tim...
everyone who cares, everyone who's relevant has okayed it.
Yeah.
I bet Duke Thomas hasn't.
No one asked him,
and
probably.
Jason was like, absolute... Yeah, Jason. Did they mention Jason?
Yeah, she said even Jason, I think was the last name she said.
I bet you Jason was a holdout and they had to convince him.
He's like, oh, fine. You know? But it's just that thing at the heart of, like, you know, everyone loving Dick, everyone caring about Dick, is like, everyone's like, we don't care if this leads to the entire secret identity collapse of the entire Bat family, we're in. So I think that's really sweet. Like, everyone's showing up to it. It was kind of like in that earlier arc when the Titans showed up to, like, save him when he was being assassinated or whatever. This feels like that again a little bit, where it's kind of heartfelt. It feels nice that everyone cares about him so much that they're going to put their necks out for him. So
and then on a writing perspective too, from Taylor, is the beginning is a nice kind of recap of what had gone on, since this run has gone on for a while. Them recapping some of the things that had happened in order, you know, and how it's all been part of Heartless's plan to discredit Dick Grayson. I thought that was a real nice touch, you know, to kind of remind us of all these little things. Yeah,
especially since how they were using some of the things to make him look really bad. Like, the mayor's actually his sister, so she's helping him with all this, like, shady stuff. That, we're doing all this for charity, but it's actually a fun for, you know, whatever
Blockbuster
else.
Ends up dead, yet Blockbuster ends up, you know, his money ends up going to the, you know, Pennyworth Foundation. Oh, that's suspect.
Very shady.
You know, and then the reporter that reported that is the one that ends up dead on the rooftop with him. You know, look at this man. So I thought all that stuff was very well handled.
Yeah, and then you've got the fun, just from an art perspective, the montage of Dick traveling, where, you know, him and Haley on the train, and whatnot, and all the climbing. And
it also showed how much this arc has gone in time, because Haley's gone from a puppy to essentially a full-grown dog, too. So I like that as well.
Yeah. So yeah, the Titans do actually leave town. You know, and they're told, you know, Batman's like, hey, make sure they do it publicly, like, make sure they're seen leaving.
Yeah.
Which so they do, you know.
And they boom tube out.
Yeah. So no, I love this issue. I think this issue is the best of this arc so far. I think they've been progressively getting better since the start of this arc. Not that the first one was bad in any way, but yeah, there was some pacing issues perhaps in one or two of the early issues, and then this, I felt like. I think this nailed everything. It built up to a perfect ending. It had heartfelt moments. It had fun moments. You know, Dick putting on that outfit at the end's pretty fun. Heartless feels like a big threat and feels like he's really firing all cylinders as an evil villain mastermind. So, yeah. And now he's actively saying, hey, we're going to take over the city. I'm Dick Grayson, by the way, and we're going to cut out your hearts. So, yeah.
There's only 2 issues left, or is it 3? No.
2.
It's got to be 2.
Yeah.
Oh, give me.
I think 119 was the solicits.
Yeah, so. August and September. There's just 2 left. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's going too fast.
There's not like an annual or anything that we can get a little bit extra, is there?
I don't think so.
I don't remember being any, but
I don't remember there being any solicited. So
there's one for Detective. I remember that there being like an extra thing for Ram V's Detective run, but I don't think for Nightwing.
It just goes, if you go into like Comic Geeks and look at the order, it goes Nightwing 117 to 118. Usually they'll throw the annual in there, you know, as it's coming out. So yeah,
we're almost at the end of the run, but
been a couple of years at least, right?
Oh yeah, it's been 2 solid plus years of. He started on issue 78.
Yeah.
And we're
It's
here.
a pretty solid run, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good long, you know, fills up an omnibus run. I'm pretty happy with how long it's been. That's why I'm a little sad that he's not going to be on Titans anymore, because I was hoping Titans would get a similar kind of tenure, but
because you can tell that he cares about writing Titans as well, like.
Yes, but at least I think in part of it was always
a supplement to.
It was always like a sub part of this book, or like it was for his Beast World stuff. It's never truly been its own book, like other than right now, which is turns out is like its final arc. I don't think it's ever really been its own book doing its own run.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
And that's not to say it's been bad. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. And definitely it's supplemental to Nightwing.
Yeah.
But hey, we got him on Detective. He's leveling up, and in fact, arguably, he's transitioning very smoothly because now he's writing Nightwing with Bruce Wayne in the costume. It's like he's inching towards Detective.
Well, practice run. Get some Bruce in there before he's got to do it full time.
Oh dear! And just think of all the moments in this run that he's made us tear up, bringing up Alfred. Imagine how he's going to do that with Bruce being the main character now.
No, thank you. I don't want to cry.
That's going to be tearing up. We're going to have boxes of tissues at the ready every time he's reading that.
It's going to be like that annual story that he did, right?
Oh yeah. All right. Fantastic. What are you giving Nightwing, Matt?
8.5.
Connor?
I'm gonna go with a straight 8, but still very, very good issue.
9 for me. Loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Redondo that much, but everything looked fantastic.
Yeah,
I was standard Redondo greatness, right?
Water's wet, the sun is hot, Redondo's awesome.
The dogs are raw.
Banging on all cylinders.
All right. Titans 13, Tom Taylor writing with Daniele Di Nicuolo on art, which, first of all, the art was disappointing here. I'm just going to get that out of the way first.
Yeah, because we're so used to Lucas Meyer.
Yeah,
right?
I was missing Meyer throughout this issue. A lot of the faces were really like, like why does this look so off?
I really like the angled faces in this.
Yeah, like it's not bad, but after Meyer, it's just, like I opened it up, I was like, oh, this is not Meyer. Because I didn't look before I read.
I thought some of the faces looked really flat as well. There's a lot of times where Cyborg's face especially looked very flat to me.
I think Cyborg's, for me, the only one that suffers. I think it's the half and half on the face doesn't really work for their style.
He also draws Gar unnecessarily jacked. Like if you look on the page where he's talking to Raven in that room.
Yeah, why would he not be jacked?
Why would he be overly jacked? Like,
Why not? Maybe when he transforms into like a rhino, the extra muscle helps.
I'm just, I don't know. It just
I'm saying is, the dude's a shapeshifter. He wants to give himself some extra muscle.
Yeah, but he looks like he had that surgery where they inject his muscles with plastic. Like, it doesn't look naturally big.
He's just,
you know what I mean?
He's just showing off in front of Raven.
Me,
as soon as she leaves the room.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just to me, Beast Boy's always lean. That's all. He's a vegetarian.
I'm not getting into this. I will say, in the first couple of pages in Hell, what turns out to be Hera coming to make some inquiries, I legitimately thought this was Omen for like a little bit, just because red hair, green cloak. I was like, "Whoa, why is Omen in this issue? That's interesting."
I did as well. I think that's why they make sure to tell us there's Hera on the first page
at the bottom.
Because, I think before that's fine because they're hooded and the face is silhouette. So it's intentionally a mystery, right? So as long as they tell us the first time she takes the hood off, and so I'm okay with it.
Look, though, it makes sense. Omen going into Hell, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with this.
Yeah. So our cliffhanger last time was Raven sort of confronting Dick, and I say Raven, I mean the dark.
The dark winged queen.
Winged queen, yes. And she's going kind of supernova. Raven's like yelling from inside the crystal. Nightwing's basically realized that Raven's trapped in the crystal, and he's telling Beast Boy and Cyborg this. And then Raven just sort of says, "It's not supposed to be like this," and basically just makes time kind of reset effectively.
I wasn't sure if this worked on Dick or not. Like, I don't know if he's just playing along to get another opportunity, or if it did work on him, and he's like, yeah, that's right. Like, he genuinely is like brainwashed again right now.
Yeah, honestly, not sure either. Just to nitpick on the art again here, I thought Dick looks silly young in this page.
Yeah. He looks like Damien.
Yeah, after time resets, he looks like he's 14.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the actual main story of this issue, though, once it gets going, is that Beast Boy and Cyborg go off to the royal palace in what country was it?
Cravia.
Bravia. Okay, it's a fake country. That's why I didn't remember it. And basically, the queen, princess, whoever, prince.
Yeah. So no, he's the leader there. He was a freedom fighter before, but there got reports that a green animal attacked him.
Yeah, green tiger.
It's their first president. It makes point saying it's their first democratically
president. That's what it was.
President.
Right.
That's what I was trying to remember was what their role in the country was. So yeah, basically they're there to deal with this and kind of maybe also prove that it's not Beast Boy because restoring that public image is a big thing. And sure enough, this creature, this being, whoever it is attacking the president and the secret service of the country. And Beast Boy is actually the one that jumps in as an ape and pulls out this like parasite thing that was fired into the president's mouth. And then we get a bit of a face off. And this is also where I'll critique some of the art here, is that I thought this fight between two green shapeshifters animals was a little not super like intuitive to follow, right? It wasn't always immediately clear to me exactly what was going on.
Personally never had a problem following who was who.
No, but it would have been nice to have maybe little different shades of green. Maybe make Gar a little bit darker. Right?
Well, it's not even so much about who's who. It's more like just some of the panels I just don't think look very good. And sometimes it like the action itself isn't that exciting to follow. In fact, there's one page, the page that starts with the bubble that says good luck with that. Like, I genuinely I'm not sure what animal the one on top's supposed to be. I see like
it's in mid shapeshift, right? It's coming out of the elephant.
It's some kind of big creature that Gar has seen because remember she only transforms into animals that she killed.
Yes.
So there's got to be some type of alien thing, or
And this is Apex Ava who we're fighting here.
I completely forgot about until right now. So when it first talked about that a green tiger had attacked this president, I thought this was part of the Absolute Power. They were framing all the heroes in the first issue, and that's how they were going to tie this in. But I was like, wait, this is not tying in though. And then I remembered, I was like, oh, this is that green lady that Dick ran into during Beast World. Or before Beast World, whatever it was.
I think it was during. It was the tie-ins. Yeah.
It was like a backup, right?
Yeah, something like that. That sounds right.
Yeah. So yeah, and here that too. That panel where she looks maniacal, too. I don't think it's necessarily the best work of Nicuolo.
Yeah, I just wasn't completely in love with this fight. I just didn't think it flowed very well. But ultimately, Raven shows up and kind of helps and traps her. And Beast Boy's a little bit like, oh, I can, you don't have to like follow me, you don't have to protect me.
This is why he's so jacked right now. He's feeling really self-conscious.
That's that
look, I'm always self-conscious, then I don't look that jacked, man. So like,
but if you could just look that jacked in half a second,
brother, if I could get bit by whatever gave him the green thing, I would do it in a heartbeat. I think I wouldn't live life as a bear.
No, I absolutely believe you would.
Just knocking stuff over. I don't think I'd get into the trash, but I'd do it to scare people. Absolutely.
You can get into a bin. Yeah, you could. They're not that bad.
Who am I kidding? I would definitely go to Taco Bell and get into the bin.
Living your best life.
Yeah, 100%. See, Pete has nothing to say. This is where me and Connor bond.
I don't. I'm thinking about how to turn this into a jacking off joke. It's not coming to me. Anywho, yeah. So Raven sort of kisses him here, and it's all kind of manipulative because it's kind of reinforcing this bond, this connection. Particularly because it's when Beast Boy's like, "Why don't I feel guilty?" And we know why he doesn't feel guilty because Raven took that from him. She's
messed with him. Yeah,
she's used the magics, and so she's really like getting into his head here in a very real way.
How much of this do you think that the next writer is going to follow up with? Because there's no way that this can be... Okay, sure, you can resolve this plot in a couple of issues, but this has to have long-term repercussions for these two, right?
I would hope that maybe if Taylor was meant to be on a longer run, maybe he's like left like a roadmap or something kind of thing.
That's why I also wanted to ask too, because it's Layman, right? So
yes,
who knows? I'm trying to remember if he did the weekly Batman book. Because if that's the case, and he's pretty good at picking up threads, he's pretty good at picking up threads and turning them into things. So, maybe. But no, this, whatever happens, though, I do feel like the Dark-Winged Queen's going to take all the blame, and then we'll leave them in. Maybe it's a little bit on. It's
one of those where it's like, yes, it's not really Raven, but I still feel like it has to have something long term for Gar, regardless.
Consequences.
Yeah, well, poor Gar, man. He's been through it. He got shot in Dark Crisis. Then he got, he Star-Wized himself and caused the Beast World. Now his girlfriend has messed with his brain. So, maybe he needs to go to Nanda Parbat himself and reset.
Yeah, maybe. Final scene is just kind of continuing the Hera stuff at the start, where she's basically kind of enlisting the other two brothers of Raven to be like, hey, we need to stop this. The Darkwing Queen, does this. She's going to have too much power. We have to stop this. And then whips out the Spectre, basically. So
I also love that one of the brothers of Raven, one of Trigon's son, just kicks the absolute shit out of Neron for wasting the thing. I thought that was very funny. But and then Spectre. So lots of green in this issue.
Yeah, because he basically he says, I didn't know what to do, so I released the Dark Raven from her gem, and the others are like, what, you idiot,
you stupid bitch, basically.
No one wants that. So I mean, I enjoyed the plot progression here, like I have done, but I definitely wasn't into the art in this issue all that much. But I will say, in that moment at the start when Raven kind of reset time and sort of fixed that people were starting to realize and find out what was going on, I kind of was relieved a little bit, because it felt like it was progressing too quick almost in a sort of unsatisfying way. So but instead it was this is just showing how powerful she is, because she just reverses it instantly.
Well, and if the minions of hell, right? If the ones that we look at, like for all intents and purposes, Blaze is essentially acting as the devil, right? If they're worried about her ascending, it's a big problem. So if she's able just to do that, what can she do, in the main realm? So I think it was really good at Taylor showing what she's capable of. I think that was a nice move.
Yeah. All right, Matt, what are you giving Titans?
I'm gonna give this a 6.5.
All right.
Shockingly, I'm gonna line up with a 6.5.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. 6.5.
Okay.
Peer pressured him into it.
Yeah. I'm just surprised Matt's is low. I mean, you're always low, Connor, so it's not surprising.
I knew I was giving a 6.5 coming into this, but I'm surprised Matt's wasn't like a 7.5 or higher still.
Surprised it wasn't 11.
Not for this one.
Yeah, not enough Starfire.
Not enough Starfire. Meyer's not doing the art. Yeah, no.
All right. Green Lantern War Journal issue 11. Philip Kennedy Johnson writing with Montos on the art. And let me see if I've got this right. So this is the penultimate issue, right? Let me see if I've got this right.
You have got that right.
Well, not that part.
I mean, you were right.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'll accept it. Yes, you can tell me I'm right. But so Olgrun, this ancient god of gods, whatever you want to call him, right? I think it was niece, is the queen of the Radiant Dead, right? And because he was tricked into killing her, that basically left him in a rage, and that willpower effectively created a new universe, and that's what Olgrun's will comes from. And the niece is spreading the dark energy of the Radiant. She's the Revenant Queen. That's what I got from this issue.
Yeah, the Queen Anja has become the Radiant Queen, because the way that he was manipulated by the dark forces into killing her has led to her becoming the opposite of Olgrun's realm.
I feel that this 12-issue book is going to read phenomenally in collection when you can read, because the biggest problem is starting this issue and I'm like, okay, we're in. Where are we right now? Who are these people? Why are they? What's all these names?
It drops you right in it as well. There's no lead up with any of the Shirley stuff, for example, which is the more grounded stuff, relatively speaking,
more normal.
But it's just right in the deep. Do you know what it reminds me of the most? I know you guys don't really read it, but it reminds me of the Grant Morrison Green Lantern stuff, especially the second half of the run where shit got weird. It reminds me a lot of that.
So I can follow it. It's just remembering what I'm following, because I like to think that as we were doing this month to month, we were pretty good at resetting and remembering, and at least me and Pete were able to talk things out and make sense of it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it feels like there's 2 months between these and there wasn't, right?
No.
And the way that he drops you in, and I'm trying to remember all the lore that's involved up to this point, and it's very difficult.
A nice little recap page would have done wonders for this book, I think. But, I mean, I will say, I like this issue quite a bit, and I think once the lore started to make a bit more sense, as it felt like it was coming together, and how Olgrun and the Revenant Queen were connected, I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty interesting. I'd forgotten that John had went into this, and he's like, because he's like basically inhabiting the brother, right? Like, and he's or he's maybe Olgrun himself, actually, I don't know, but
he's taking the form of Olgrun with this Dark Star energy,
and he's basically experiencing all this, and we're learning this. So, but by the time actually all was coming together, and I was sort of making sense of what it was saying about these characters, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting, especially since this Olgrun stuff is, you know, obviously going all the way back into War World and all that. And then we go to Earth, and we go to the tower, and Steel and Natasha are trying to get in, whereas the green daughter, if you will, is like protecting the grandmother, or the mother, sorry, and
the mother,
and just basically running from this like supernatural force that's coming after him, and it's lots of beautiful art. Obviously, the green really pops against all the purple and black that's kind of surrounding them. But ultimately, it all builds up to this couple of things. One, that she reveals that she's kind of known that it's not really a daughter that's back, that she's, in a way, she's kind of went along with it because she thinks it makes John happy that he's making her happy. And it's like, okay, that's oddly sweet given that he's doing this to make you happy. So so
there's a little happiness feedback loop going on here.
Yeah, kind of. But then the other thing is this idea that John always thought the ring should have went to her instead of him, because he always sort of saw her as his hero, as someone who fought for people, as someone who...
and that she had the willpower to be the civil rights activist, and that's what I like, that panel in the middle there where Ellie's picking her up, and then it's between the dog tags of John, and you see the stuff that she had done, right?
Yeah.
And
you see her getting her police photo taken when she was presumably arrested for protests,
for standing up for what she believed in, and that's John. That's where John gets that from, right?
Yeah. So it gets to this point where, okay, the construct's like, okay, I can't give you a ring, but I can effectively let your willpower drive me, and surrounds her. So we get kind of like I'm going to assume this is what she looked like when she was younger, because it's like sort of like, okay, you get to be a Green Lantern to fight this thing off for, one glorious day to save yourself, kind of thing. So I thought that was quite good. The art was really
good. Definitely didn't get dusty as I was reading it this morning.
Yeah. No, it was well done. They've been building up to this for quite some time. But yeah, obviously, basically, they think, Olgrun and the Revenant Queen think that John Stewart's trapped now that he came into this, like, the Dark Star or whatever. And he's like, oh no, I just wanted to come in here and sort of figure out what this place was and what's going on. And he just reveals that he can leave. He's like, I understand now. And he's just John Stewart again.
He's like, I love
he's like, I needed to see how the machine worked from the inside. Now I know. So see you guys later.
Yep.
Bringing back in that architect background into it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it starts to sort of get unstable, there's rumblings, and it basically he's, rebuilding, like he's built like a globe, and he's like constructing. You can actually, if you look at this sort of construct that's around him, it is like building blueprints and like sketches and diagrams and stuff.
Yeah,
it's not just, there's like, you can see stuff like cathedrals and churches and stuff like that, but there's also like trees in there. There's all sorts. It's not just buildings.
It's stuff that is like sturdy, right? It's stability.
Yeah. So it's this big moment, and it's like, okay, right, he's finally going to like deal with Olgrun. He's going to deal with the Revenant Queen. Going to stop all this, and finally sees the what did they call it? not cathedral, the place where Olgrun's
The
thing
Dark
is
Star
buried.
of the Fen. Right?
Necropolis?
Necropolis,
the
thank
Necropolis.
you. That's what I
There
was
you
looking for, yeah. He finds the necropolis and sort of sees it, and yeah, she's not very happy. The Revenant Queen is not happy about this at all, and wants to stop him, of course. And just of course, as we get to the end of the issue, we hear the contact. The ring starts perking up. Someone's talking to him, and of course, it's Guy Gardner and Lantern Shepherd finally arriving to help out. So it does
best Lantern on backup.
It does obviously set us up for the final issue. It feels like it's built up to it. It feels like we're here, and yeah, it feels like we're at that point of the story. It feels like we're getting to the ending. So which is good. It's good to feel that here. So yeah, that was very pretty. I mean that page with the Necropolis is pretty gorgeous. Because it's
that one. I like the one before that too. The double page spread.
Oh sure, yeah.
Him coming out of it and kind of assembling everything back together.
Yeah, because he assembles the Necropolis back together again. Because it's all been smashed. When
pieces.
When was it when Olgrun escaped that it smashed, or something else smashed it? Yeah. So yeah, I think the big thing with this is there's just so much goddamn mythology and lore that Johnson is packing into all this that I do think it's going to benefit. Like I think reading Warworld Saga again and then this again and sort of a quicker succession is probably going to really do a lot for all this stuff.
Like I don't know why it keeps surprising me, but I forget just how much Johnson loves lore. So like the first thing from DC I read was that
the Last God or the First God.
Yeah, which was like basically just
it's his D&D campaign.
It's a lore dump of a fantasy setting.
So this makes me wonder though, what aspect of Olgrun is going to show up in Batman and Robin, right? Because we have a pattern, and I say that mostly in jest because at this point, Philip Kennedy Johnson's written so many good things.
The vengeance of Olgrun will show up in Batman and Robin.
There we go. So we had the Fire of Olgrun, right? We have the will. So yeah, vengeance fits that kind of theme. These all-consuming things. But yeah, very, very good stuff. And then when we get to that last page, when because like with the stuff with the Necropolis and stuff, John looks kind of like the way that the light's going around him, it almost kind of washed him out, like the light's kind of blown out. But when Shepherd and Guy show up, everything becomes like crisp and clear again. Like the colors start to pop more vibrant.
His eyes start glowing.
Yeah, and his eyes start glowing, and so just a lot of fun coloring going on here with Montos. Adriana Lucas is the colorist. Just working overtime. But yeah, this book is fantastic.
Yeah. It's very, very good. All right. And obviously Montos' art. I mean, we've talked about a couple of the big pages, how detailed some of it is. The greens really popping against the purples and pinks that tend to be in the rest of the pages. And also worth mentioning, that stuff that's kind of like the flashback almost that John's reliving as Olgrun to sort of learn about what the past is. That stuff looks so different from the rest of the book, you know? Color-wise, even line work-wise, it looks very, very different.
It's much more fantasy-based in a sci-fi book, right? Like so it sticks out more because it's kind of so different.
I mean, yeah, when you go from like the first page to the second page, and you go to like it's actual Olgrun and the Revenant Queen with like half of her face ripped off. Like so the page before it's this young girl. It's very angelic, long blonde hair, and it's all bright and sunny and the pastel colors.
I like how you can see the reality behind it in like the background.
Oh yeah,
on that first page.
Yeah, behind the circle and
behind
stuff.
the circle, yeah.
And then that next page, it's like no, the half the face is ripped off. This is the truth. This is the horror. It really contrasts really nice to build a mood. So really good. All right, Matt, what are you rating Green Lantern War Journal?
I'm giving this a 9.
Whoa, Connor?
I'm gonna go an 8.5, which is still very, very good.
Yeah, I think I'm more in the 8.5 train, but yes, very, very good. All right. Batman Superman World's Finest issue 29. Mark Waid writing with Dan Mora on the art. So this wraps up this imp story.
Mission Impossible.
Which, to be fair, by the end does actually give a bit of a a heartfelt ending to one of the imps. Batmite kind of goes out like a hero, and well, doesn't go out. He ends up surviving, but he effectively is told he has to stay away. But he's like, "But promise you'll always remember me, Batman." He's like, "I will." And Batmite's outfit is hung up in the cave next to all the Robin outfits.
Yeah,
it's all very, very sweet. But yeah, I mean, this has been a fun story. It's not been like a super amazing must-read story by any stretch, but you know, there's been fun to be had along the way. Like here, Mixie going around and collecting all the various magic users because that might give them a fighting chance. Because they have to do it without Batman, who was turned into a puppet.
Yep, like a man, like a ventriloquist dummy kind of puppet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got half the strings.
So yeah, we get Constantine, we get Zatanna, we get Thunderbolt even.
They get which I always forget he's a fifth dimensional construct.
This was like one of the only pages I didn't really like of the issue. There's like 2 or 3 pages here, which is just let's round up some people, and then like it's. I feel like this could have been condensed down into like 1 page instead of being like 2 or 3. And
yeah, but when Mora wants to draw Cairo with Dr. Occult fighting, what's his name, Prince Rahman, you just let him have the page.
Yeah, that was a very pulpy page with
it was very pulpy.
I love it. And I also love that we're pulling, it's not just who we think, right? The fact that Waid brings in Dr. Occult, who I think Dr. Occult also showed up during the Batman versus Robin stuff.
Oh, sure.
As well, in the House of Secrets or House of Mysteries or something. So, the fact that he's pulling from that well, I appreciate. I'm still not exactly sure what this 6-dimensional thing is, but that's fine because they defeat it. You know what I mean? Like the fact that it comes from a place where all time is occurring at the same, yet it wants to go to other places to bully. I'm just like, okay, I guess that's fine. It's just a monster to hit by the end.
I mean, Superman basically just buys the imp's time to collect the magic users by getting the shit kicked out of him by this imp.
Yeah.
I don't know if it technically count him as an imp, but the villain. So I mean, obviously the art here is wonderful, right? Like you say, it almost feels like part of the charm here was Mora getting to draw all these characters that maybe he's not been doing as much recently.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. It almost feels like this is someone's like when they're just like just write as many characters in because you might not get this chance again, as if Mora's not on DC books for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
It's kind of when Jim Lee came in to do Hush, right?
Yeah, like, who do you want to draw?
Who do you want? All right, I'll work the story around that. Which, Connor, I do got to say, how much did you love Mora's Zatanna? And then you flip the page and you got Dr. Fate.
Yeah, no, I did appreciate that. That was like tailor-made for me.
Well, I immediately thought of you when I was like, it's Mora, and then it's Zatanna and Fate. And I was like, Connor must be loving this.
Yeah.
I got one panel of Constantine, too.
And it all goes to this big full-page spread of all these characters they've collected in the 2 main imps, pulling these big yellow, magic strings, effectively. But it's a really good page. It's fun seeing them all together. I think I especially like how Thunderbolt really pops against the rest of them because he's like this bright pink versus the rest of them. But yeah, they're basically pulling the 6th dimension out of the character, which, I mean, does that. How that works, I mean, I'm not even going to question it. I'll just go with it.
Yeah, just this is I feel like they try and get away with it because it's all like 5th dimension, 6th dimension shenanigans.
Yes.
But this arc in particular on this book is very light on plot.
Yeah,
and it's more just like this issue alone spends, I counted it just now, 5 pages collecting all those magic users. That's a quarter of the book for them to all appear on 1 page and pull with a magic rope. Like, it's very light on plot, but it is just, hey Mora, go draw some shit.
As they're pulling these cables, you can see in the cables events from the future, like in DC. So you see Damien and John in one panel. You see the Batman Who Laughs in one of them. You see Batgirl fighting Doomsday. I don't know when that happened, but fair enough.
Well, you have that. You also have Terry McGinnis and then the Brainiac Queen, right? And then underneath that, you have Absolute Power because you got that panel of Superman getting shot in the corner.
The next page, yeah.
On the next page,
Yeah, Yeah, I guess the only some of these are the future and not just the past.
Yeah.
Although Batgirl she seems to be in the Burnside outfit, right?
Well, yeah, they're all in the future relative to this story, though. Is what I mean.
Are
Right.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah,
it's John,
'cause it's in the
right?
past.
John,
Yes, of course,
Damian.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I forget
Batman
this
Who
how far
Laughs.
back this is set.
You also have Connor Kent right there on the top of that page.
Of course, Matt has to bring up the Connor Kent appearance.
Of course they do.
I forgot how far back this book was set in the timeline. This is the future for all of them. But obviously, the Absolute Power one was our future as well. But roughly. I'm sure when he was writing this, he didn't know the exact order of when things were coming out. So
yeah. And that's the weird thing happens that everyone pulling the cables starts to age, including Robin, who becomes like a weird version of Nightwing, who's got like a cowl.
Looks like Bane Nightwing.
It does, weird.
Nightbane.
Obviously, it's not permanent. They all just go back to normal once the thing's been taken care of.
Well, and we get an awesome Batman 66 kapow.
We do. That's when Batman,
a full page kapow as well.
Yep.
Batman flies in, seemingly sacrificing himself to save the day. He turns out to be okay, but there is a whole moment here where Batman's holding the cowl in his hand, and everyone's all sad and dour. But then, of course, he shows up and makes Batman laugh, maybe because of his Batman underwear or something. I'm not sure.
I don't get why Batman thought this was so funny, but whatever. The dude has serious PTSD, so his sense of humor's got to be really broken.
Yep. There's also a running gag throughout where Robin keeps saying Mixie's name wrong, and then he intentionally says it wrong backwards. So Mixie's like, "No, you idiot, it's this," and then makes himself go away.
Oh, nuts.
That's fun. Yeah.
I did really like Mora does such a good smug look there on Robin.
Yeah, I mean, I think this arc it's been fun. It's been better than that first teaser of it was suggesting. But that said, it is definitely a light-hearted, fluffy story with a villain who's just a big, silly comic book cartoon character. And that's all it is.
And again, that's why I like that they just make him a monster for them to essentially punch at the end.
It is an arc that with a inferior artist would be extremely mediocre to read.
Yeah.
There's very little in the writing that's really exciting or to keep you going, other than just it being an art showcase. That is the draw of this arc, and because it's Dan Mora, that's kind of okay.
And for the most part, this book has been kind of let's just do some fun romps rather than doing big serious stories.
Yeah, we had a Kingdom Come tie-in.
We did, but I think this is in terms of the writing quality of telling the story, I think this is probably the worst arc yet in that sense. Again, I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying all the other arcs, if you replace them with a different artist, they're still okay for the most part. Whereas I think this one, if you put a mediocre artist on this would be awful. It would just completely fall flat.
I mean, I don't know if I'd be that harsh, but
you'd be bored after 3 issues of this. If
I was
on it.
Very
up until they started doing some of the 6-dimensional stuff, and when they got knocked into the second dimension, that's what pulled me back in. Because a lot of the imp stuff early on, I was just I think that was in the annual and the first issue. I was kind of I'm not enjoying this whatsoever.
No, the actual first issue of the arc was very good. It was just the annual tease that wasn't.
The annual was.
Yeah. So once it came into itself, though, it's been very enjoyable. And again, a lot of that is Mora, right? Just getting to draw these characters, and the compositions are all good. You can follow the action really well. So, it's fun to have a lighthearted book every once in a while.
It has its place, for sure. Matt, what are you giving World's Finest?
I'm going to give this I'll go a little high, and I'll go 8.
All right, Connor?
I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think with, and it'll probably be a 5.5 without more on it.
Yeah, I think I agree with the 6.5, actually. I was going to go 7, but I think, like you say, a lot of the fighting in between the collecting people and stuff just kind of feels like filler until the big moments that it wants to have. The big moments are fun and entertaining and kind of sweet in places, but, not like a must-read by any such stretch of the imagination. So that's World's Finest. Dark Knights of Steel, Allwinter, issue 1. So this is not a sequel, and I say that because actually on Twitter recently, Taylor was teasing that there's going to be an actual sequel. So this is more of a spin-off. This is
Unkillables, essentially.
Yes, effectively, yeah. What's interesting, though, I don't think I realised, because Taylor is written here as a writer as well, because it's Jay Kristoff and Tirso Cons who are on the main story. I didn't realise it was going to be a backup, and the backup's by Taylor, fleshing out another part of the world.
I think we were thinking it was going to be like co-written, like notes by Taylor, but it's fully just Taylor and Federici, the main artist, doing the backups. Like
Federici doing Aquaman shit. I am here for it.
Oh yeah, I missed that.
Yeah, I am here for that. So, yeah, this is a black and white book. Well, the main story is.
Can I just say, I'm so glad, in a way, that this is the first book I read, because I did not know this was black and white.
All
the other books had pages, the previews. I didn't know that. I just went into this blind, and I was like, oh, this is different. I'm not expecting it. I think I got a little bit more enjoyment out of that, like the surprise factor.
To be fair, though, it does build up to one page with something color on it at the end, and that is a really cool final page. Because they talk a lot, there's a lot of little things throughout this issue of Deathstroke lamenting that the world, the oceans used to be blue and the trees used to be green. And I didn't take him literally. I thought he was just saying, oh, the world's kind of shit now, and climate's gotten worse and whatever. But then you get to the end, and the shock of the final page is that this character is in color. And he recognizes that he looks different from the rest of the world. And I'm like, okay, that's actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I would say, they're just stuck in the land of never-ending winter, so everything's gray and drab, and,
I love that, like, just before that final reveal, the page before, like, it kind of tells you pretty explicitly that the world is in black and white. Because it's, the narration says, gray cloth in his hands, black blood on his skin.
Yeah.
And you're kind of going, hang on a second.
But it's right before, though, so it's not even thinking about it.
No, you haven't, like... For the most part, you just think stylistic choice, right? That's fine. Yeah.
So I mean, the issue, I actually really loved this, to be honest. I
kind of loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know Jay Kristoff from anything.
I would say he's typically a novelist. Does fantasy novels.
But I thought it flowed well. I thought the dialogue was easy to read, and I was super engaged with the characters. The idea that. The villain, who is Vandal Savage, they keep calling him like a slightly alternate Vandal, yeah. But he's hired Deathstroke to like kill a bunch of people, and we get this glorious 2-page spread of like on their horses in the snow and some fighting and whatnot. But basically, Deathstroke wants to be paid for his job. He goes back.
Classic Deathstroke.
Of course.
Give me my coin.
Yeah, he goes back with Vandal to like his fortress or whatever. They're celebrating, and he tries to make small talk with them. There's this great 2-page layout where they're just having a drink and talking, and these panels at the top and bottom. But across the middle of this 2-page layout, there's just this like smear of like blood. But again, it's in black and white, so it's a little hard to tell. But inside that smear is the actual like Deathstroke killing people and whatnot. It's all very stylized and very pretty. Really loved it. There's something about black blood on a white background that just looks very effective, in that style. But yeah, I mean, Vandal Savage starts talking about building his empire, and he's like, I just want paid. Give me my money, right? Because he's like, what do you see, Slade? I see someone who owes me money. I was like, that's actually pretty funny. And he's like, yes, but what if I said, blah, 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 there's people to kill? And he's like, how much? That's what I'd say. How much? Pay me. So...
Well, I like that too. Right before that, he goes, well, war never gives. It only takes. Speaking of, and he keeps bringing up the money. And then when he finally does bring up the money, that's where he pulls him back in.
Yeah. So, it's basically up until now, it's like, okay, this is a sense that Deathstroke's this gun for hire. Well, not literal gun, obviously, because it's the time period. Though. Right? And it's setting up that he's gone on a mission for Vandal Savage, who's sending Killer Frost as a sort of chaperone, because she works for him. And we get this journey in the Viking boat and all the rest of it, and traveling across the seas. They encounter a kraken just for a bit of fun on the way, which looked fantastic. So yeah, as much as I was praising the writer who I'd never heard of, I also would like to praise the artist that I've never heard of here.
Yeah, it's great, especially doing black and white work in in Western comics is bold, right? Well, no, let me rephrase it. In American direct market comics is bold.
Yeah.
It's not often done, and it usually doesn't go down all that well. And we've seen some examples of DC where it's not looked amazing. I think one of the Batman anthology books tried it for a while, and it was okay, but it really works here.
There's a different skill set to it, in the same way that light in a movie for black and white versus color is a different skill set as well. It just looks good, and you got Deathstroke like jumping into the mouth of the Kraken, and them thinking he's gone, but then he like cuts his way out like 2 pages later.
That looks so metal. Him emerging from the dead Kraken with his axes. Oh my god!
I keep in mind, just for I mean, I know that Deathstroke usually has a bit of a beard, but he's got like a Viking beard and long hair here.
And even his helmet too, which has as it covers up his batch, right, is very Vikingized with the downturned horns and whatnot.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Like all this action scene is really great. It really sells like, okay, why we're doing this setting. And it was so convincing, even at this point, I was like, okay, I went from being, what is this weird spin-off? Do I really want more Dark Knights of Steel to being, oh, I'm glad this is like 8 issues now. Like, I'm glad this isn't just like a quick one-shot or like a 3-issue thing. So they get to where they're going. Whatever. Again, they've all got like these...
This temple, yeah.
It's very... it reminds me a lot of like reading like Aaron Starr and stuff, all the names of the places. It's all Smart Halm and stuff like that.
Very, very Norse, yeah.
Dodshrev and Skyhelm.
It's real Nomics. I can't find it now, but I remember when I was reading it, I was like, they've followed on with the theme of the original book of naming someone or something after like notable fantasy stuff. The original had Hob Forest. There was something in this that I remember as I was reading it, I noticed, but now I cannot for the life of me find what it was to actually reference it. But there's definitely one in here.
Okay.
But yeah, so they get into this temple and they encounter some characters in hoods, right? And there's some surprises here, right? When they sort of spring their trap. One of them being that one of them is Slade's wife, or sorry, I should say ex-wife, as she points out.
As she likes to, because up to this point, he's been eulogizing her. Like, I miss my wife, Addie. What would I do to have you? And you're like, oh, okay, well, this is a world where she's dead. And, whatever he did as a Viking is, stayed with him. You're like, oh, no, she's around. They're just not together anymore in typical Deathstroke fashion.
And as soon as like he realizes it's her, right, it was just Adeline, he's like, okay, we're done now, right? We're not going to fight and continue the job. And Killer Frost starts yelling about it. And he's like, here's the coin that he paid me. Take it back. And if he wants to hunt me for this, that's on him. But he's like, we're done. And basically it's like, okay, she wasn't the target, though. There's someone else here that's the target. And I actually did notice during one of these pages, the name Alec popped up, and I'm like, oh. And I was like, Alec. The only one I can think of is Alec Holland. Yeah. I can't think of any other Alex.
I'm looking all over. I'm like, where's another guy? Because clearly that man is too small to be Alec Holland. Right?
And then, it's like, okay, so who is this? Why does he want him dead? What's going on? And yeah, like, final page, the white cloak comes off, and we've got this young blonde boy who is Alec Holland, but he is wearing green. And there's like another hint as well, something about connecting to the veins or the green or something, powers of the world. But it's like, okay, we have a child Swamp Thing. I mean, does he actually turn into Swamp Thing? Yeah, I don't know, but
he definitely has the connection to the green, right?
Yeah.
So
and he's bringing back life to this colorless world, presumably.
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna revitalize it, and that's something that Vandal Savage does not want. Vandal Savage probably loves this world that he's in.
Yeah.
So also worth mentioning, it does say at the start specifically, this is 6 months after the events of
the War of Three Kingdoms.
Yeah. Which I did find a little bit weird looking back, because now knowing with hindsight that the world itself is colorless, when they're on the boat, he talks about this place used to these seas used to be blue. Killer Frost before my time. Like the timeline doesn't seem to quite add up with that.
I assume that in this part of the world, which I'm going to assume is the north part of the world for obvious reasons, is where the colors all went. That's the only thing I can assume.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be something to do with the rot or something, greed, whatever, that has formed this world. because even Deathstroke seems he's not like he's fine with the Viking way, but he does not seem to like when they beat the first army and then Vandal Savage has his guys fire arrows on him anyways, even though they've surrendered. Right, that doesn't seem to sit well with Deathstroke.
Yeah.
So it seems like this is a much more brutal part of the world where something's gone wrong.
Sorry, what's their dating system? Because it says it's 6 months after the War of the Three Kingdoms, but before that it says the Battle of Spyhel, 21 AW. What's AW after?
I don't know.
After
Waller.
Ooh.
Yeah, because they mention later on when they're in the temple that it had been 21 years since like the color, so it's whatever that AW is that they're dating from the color went. But
yeah,
I'm just a bit clearly there's color elsewhere in the world. If the Battle of Three Kingdoms was only 6 months ago,
after Wayne,
you nailed it.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it could be they were the rulers until the Kryptonians showed up, right?
I don't know.
And then.
I also it was such a nice surprise at the end, not just because of the gimmick of having this one character in color, and there's probably going to be more color as he affects things in the book going forward, but it was also just that I never expected Swamp Thing in any form to show up, because it's not what I associate with Deathstroke. Like, I was expecting this, like, whoever he was the target was, I was expecting to be someone we were going to recognize, but they hit me with a bit of a curveball here, because I was thinking, oh, it'll be like Terra or something, so someone that I associate with Deathstroke or another
I 100% thought that was going to be Terra until they said Alec, and then I got very confused because I wasn't expecting it to be a kid.
Yeah, that was
or if it was a kid, you were expecting one of Deathstroke's, right?
Right, I'm expecting it to be literally any of them, Yeah. Which I wonder if this is how we get Rose in some form because of her name, right? They tend to be a little bit more literal in the Dark Knights era.
That makes sense.
So,
very good. Yeah. No, I liked it a lot. I mean, I might have even liked it more than the main book. And I liked the main book a lot. Tom Taylor's obviously great. But, like, I think this story, I was just more engrossed in it from start to finish in a way that I think it just captured me a bit quicker.
This might sound weird, but and because he's not typically a comic book writer, Kristoff, but maybe that's the benefit of getting a fantasy writer in to do this style of story is this is kind of his bread and butter, as opposed to, like, Taylor. He's a very good comic book writer. He can do. He's versatile, but this kind of epic fantasy style stuff isn't necessarily his strongest suit.
Yeah.
So bringing it out to someone else might have been a really smart choice.
Yeah, maybe.
Good choice.
Very, very interesting. All the same, really liked the main story. Which is not to suggest that I didn't like the backup, which we're getting to here.
Yeah. Real quick. All the Viking stuff reminded me of Northlanders, which was a Vertigo book.
Oh sure.
That's all these Viking stories. Book. Yeah, and he even Deathstroke, his whole design reminds me of I forget the name, but it's set in the Faroe Islands, the first story.
Yes.
In Northlanders. Very similar. So
yeah, I will
if you like this and you want more, check that out.
I will say that when I went to read this, I didn't know, or at least had forgotten, that Federici had anything to do with it. So when I turned the page to that backup, I went, wait a minute.
That's such a pleasant surprise, right?
What's going on here now? This looks like Federici. And obviously there's this battle scene, and it's the Kents fighting alongside Jim Gordon and Amanda Waller. What a weird combination of people that is. But it's like, so it's setting up some various things here. And we even get Wildcats, like the commander of the platoon or whatever. It's doing a lot of interesting stuff, and the art's all great. These characters out in the rain.
Found the name. It was in the backup.
There you go. What is it?
When it says you're the Cleavers of Rothfuss, Patrick Rothfuss. So there's the Name of the Wind books that people are waiting on that third book about as long as they've been waiting on the next Game of Thrones book.
So then that would make a lot more sense that it came from Taylor because he set up Hobbs, right? Yes. Woods. So, there you go.
Yeah, so
I knew it was in here somewhere.
The plot of this, during the sort of the aftermath of this battle, we find out that the Kents are really well respected as heroes in the army, and they don't, obviously they're good people. They don't just relish in death and glory. They're a lot more like kind and whatnot. But everyone kind of looks up to them as being these heroes. But the platoon's given this job of going to the beach, to go to the shore, just in case, because they're hearing that there's like a play for power in the seas and the under. I'm like, oh, we're doing Aquaman stuff in the backup, and sure enough, right, we cut to I don't know if it's technically Atlantis, but like
no,
it's the Lemuria.
So Lemuria in mythology, Lemuria was the Atlantis of the Pacific, right? There's a lot of weird mystical kind of conspiracy theory stuff set around Lemuria. So the fact that it's Lemuria and not Atlantis, I think, is a big point too.
Okay, so, yeah, fair enough. But as soon as it went to the underwater, I'm like, oh yeah, Federici on Aquaman.
It's been so long.
I'm remembering this.
Look at that giant squid behind there.
I'm remembering
that last page that carried the fantasy redesign from Federici. Yeah,
because basically what this does is it sets up that Alana, who, for anyone who doesn't remember that name, I don't really blame you, but it's this Aquaman's mother, has fled from this city, and whoever's ruling it is sending out soldiers after her. And basically when he's told, hey, like the surface dwellers, the Waynes and their army are like guarding the shore, he's like, I don't care about the Waynes, I don't care about them coming, they can't breathe in our waters, just kill whoever you want, betray the whatever truces we've got going. And then this is all like POV kind of from his perspective, so you don't see who it is. And then the final page shows you and reveals that this is Black Manta, and he is ruling
Emperor Manta.
Emperor
Manta, to be precise, yes. Great reveal, and I'm like, okay, I love the main story, and then you're giving me Federici like underwater stuff.
This backup, okay, let's assume in good faith that it's all going to be set in this time period. This feels like it's setting a lot of ground for the sequel that Taylor was teasing. Yeah, I mean, because that would line up to have Aquaman at that time period then.
Yeah, given the context of like the ending of the first story, where the conflict between the Amazons, the Waynes, and whoever, it kind of like resolved, and the Lightning Clan. Yeah,
because it ended up being the White Martians, right? Yeah, and they were all be played against each other. Now here's an outside force.
Yeah, this makes sense. I'm saying that like this underwater force with Black Manta as the leader. And who knows, maybe even like some of the Viking part of the world will also get involved in some way. Like there's a lot because I mean we did have a Kraken in that first story, so it's not out of the world that some of these things might connect down the line.
For sure.
So very interesting. At the very least, I could see young Alec Holland ending up in like a sequel down the line in the main story.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
So
making his way down to wherever.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that loved this book. I thought Matt would be like probably on my side. I did think it might have been a bit too.
I'm shocked that Pete likes it so much, but
yeah, me too.
Good art, well paced. It didn't like lay on too thick the terminologies or whatever. It was just enough that made sense. It wasn't relishing in the details that usually just bore the shit out of me. So and then on top of that, the backup was like interesting as well, was setting up the Kents and this underwater stuff and Black Manta and all that. Like I'm like, oh, you get plus Federici art. Like honestly, like I didn't really think I needed any more Dark Knights of Steel, but this issue was like, hey, there's stuff left in the tank. If anything, maybe it might even get more interesting now because we've done the remix of all the main characters in the DCU, which every Elseworld does. Like and I love to see Stephen more than Dark Knights of Steel, and obviously the first half of DC versus Vampires was pretty good and whatever. But they all have a kind of a similar thing where it's like, okay, how is this character going to be in this context of this world? Same with the Jurassic League. It's like, okay, this is how this character works in this version of the DCU.
The rules are set really early from the start, and they don't need to get convoluted.
Once you get past that, you get to tell just new stories.
Yes. Yes.
Which is what this is doing, and it's why we kind of loved Unkillables, right?
Yeah, Unkillables was the best part of Deceased.
And it's playing with stuff that's from fantasy lore, right? We have the evil king, right, in Vandal Savage with his, Weather Witch with Killer Frost. These are all tight, deep in. It's almost very Game of Thronesy.
It would be so funny though if the spin-off in the middle is the best part of the series again.
Except this time it's not written by Taylor, right? So
that would make it like an interesting exception.
Yeah. But I also really like the backup though, which is Taylor
as well. Yeah.
So
I'd say I prefer the main story, but also that might just be because there's more of it, right? There's a lot more meat in that main story by nature of its page count.
Yeah, just really, really interesting direction to take this in. Excited to see where they go with it. So,
I'm so glad, because I agree that like I probably like Dark Knights of Steel the best out of us because it kind of hit like a lot of the things I like.
I liked it well enough, but you know.
Yeah. But also by the end, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I need more.
Yeah.
But then this comes along, and it's
but
like,
I remember
I did need more.
The Solicit, and you're like a Viking Deathstroke. I'm in.
Yeah.
Here's my money.
I'm a sucker for it. What do you want? But I was right to be a sucker for it because it's great.
Mm-hmm. And when he went into that Kraken, I was like, oh, he's coming out the hard way. And then he does, and it did not disappoint. Like, again, I could hear him on a Marth in my head as I'm reading this. So,
yeah. Honestly, kind of the surprise of the week for me, this issue. So, Matt, what are you giving Darkness of Steel Allwinter issue 1?
8.5.
Yes. Well, I suppose winter already came in this fantasy story.
Yes. Winter is not coming. Winter is here, and
that's why there's no color. It's all winter.
Yes.
That's what AW stands for.
I almost
after winter.
Just all, or it is just all winter. Like,
all winter.
You know,
yeah. It's been that many years since this eternal winter began.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. Interesting. Yeah, issue 3 is going to end with a character saying summer is coming, just to drive it home. Connor, what are you rating this?
My customary one time of every episode where I go higher than Matt, I'll give it the 9.
Yeah.
I'm tempted. I'm going to go 9 as well. I think this is the rare combination of like, because normally if I don't like the backup that much, I won't even just consider it in the rating. But the fact that I also really like the backup as well as the main story being a surprise is like just a win-win.
And art in both main and backup is fantastic.
Yes.
Doesn't always happen.
Taylor is starting to veer into that Tom King territory of he has something on someone because he's starting to just get good artists on things by and large. So, yeah, very curious. All right, well, that was the last book, which takes us on to the final part of the show where we pick our favorite stuff of the week, favorite panel/moment, favorite cover, favorite art, top 5 books. You know the drill. Matt, what is your panel/moment of the week?
So a couple came to mind. Nightwing, you have a lot of the Deadman stuff I like in the journey to get to Nanda Parbat. You also in Green Lantern War Journal. A lot of the stuff with Shirley I really liked, especially when the LA contract surrounds her and she ends up doing, become the younger version of herself to fight whatever monster is chasing her. However, we just talked about it, but Deathstroke emerging from the Kraken, dual wielding those axes, looking like that's
it's an easy choice, isn't it? Yeah. Come
on.
All right, Connor.
For the sake of not having everything be from that issue, because I think we could all pick from that. I'm going to go from Green Lantern War Journal. I'm going to do that big, like, 2/3 of a page panel of him rebuilding. Like that just looked fantastic.
All right. I think I'll go with the moment in Nightwing where Babs is like just listing the entire Bat family who said, yeah, it's okay if our secret identities get ruined if it gets Dick,
that's pretty good.
Name cleared. I like that quite a bit. Oh, I was tempted to go with Bruce in the outfit at the end though, because that was also a pop moment. But very good. All right, cover of the week as I'm sort of looking through them now. What's so funny is that there's a variant for Nightwing by Tirso Cons who did Allwinter.
So I looked up what Tirso Cons has been doing, and it's a lot of covers. This seems to be the first. Really, like, there's been a couple independent books, but they're like 4 issues. So yeah,
that's interesting. But as far as picking a cover goes, there's a few good ones. But honestly, I think it's just going to be the regular Allwinter cover. I think that Viking Deathstroke with the gold and black helmet with the beard is just really moody, really detailed. It's kind of my pick. What you got, Connor?
Yeah, the only other one that came close to me, because I'm also going with the Viking Deathstroke, I do like the standard World's Finest cover though. The deconstructed faces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty solid.
They almost look like puzzle pieces that will go together as well.
Yeah, I do like that cover. But on another week, that could have won. But Allwinter is just, it's kind of too cool not to go with.
All right, Matt.
All right, so there's another Allwinter that you guys didn't mention, and it's the Dampanosian.
Also cool. Honestly, it has some good covers.
Right, that's good. However, mine's going to be from Superman, and I'm surprised. No love for Zatanna from Connor for any of those covers.
I do like those Zatanna covers, but both of them are just a little bit off for like my taste.
That's fine, I get it. So mine's going to be the Surdy cover. It looks like an old Magic poster. Like something from the Houdini days. It's got Superman with his old school S shield, right? And it looks like it's a poster for her show. I really like the composition, so that's mine.
All right, cool. All right, art of the week, Connor. You're up first.
Allwinter, pick your artist.
I mean, you can just give it as a whole.
If it's a whole, then easily, I mean, but like individually, it would have been probably either of those. So I like, don't get me wrong, Redondo's great. Mora does his usual great stuff, but I think both artists in Allwinter are better. So like, definitely that issue.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I want to shout out to Montos for War Journal. That's always solid. Also Redondo for Nightwing, but it's Allwinter.
Yeah, Montos and Mora are great. Redondo for Nightwing's fantastic. But I have to go with Jamal Campbell.
You little sly dog.
I kid. I'm going with Allwinter, but still, Connor's just the hyperbole.
Did you know like that meme with the like the guy just like does the blink and then the eyes open? That's how I just felt then.
Oh yeah, Drew Scanlon. Yes, I'm familiar with who that is. But I actually did see that meme for a long time before I knew who he was. He's just a video game journalist. He's not. But I always assumed it was from a TV show or something.
I suspect most of our audience don't know who that is, which is why I described it.
Probably not.
Yeah, I didn't know who it was, but I know the meme.
You know the meme. Yeah. He's basically become infamous because of the meme.
Yeah.
Just spreading like wildfire.
That's what memes do.
Kind of like how there's like 3 things from Mad Men that I always quote despite giving up on the show in season 1 because the gifs of those moments are just so like, ever present.
Wait, what are the 3 things?
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Okay, there's the I don't think about you at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, that one's definitely spread. What's the other one that I always see? I'm forgetting, but there's definitely another one that always pops up. Anywho, all right.
Good talk, Russ.
Thank you. Not good, Bob. Not good. That's also Mad Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the other one. Anywho, what are we on? Top 5 books. All right, Matt, go.
Yes. All right. 1, Green Lantern War Journal. 2, Allwinter. 3, I'm trying to remember what I did. 3 is Nightwing. 4 is World's Finest, and 5 is Superman.
Okay, Cart.
Allwinter. War Journal. Nightwing. I'm struggling to remember after that what I did. It's not Superman, it's on my left. Probably World's Finest, then Titans, but they're pretty comparable, those two.
All right. For me, number 1, Nightwing. Number 2, number 2, Allwinter. Number 3, War Journal. Number 4, the Superman, then 5 Titans. Yeah, that's about right. So,
sounds about right.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's there you go. That's us. That's I'll tell you what's coming next week from DC Comics. We have Detective Comics 1087, Green Arrow 14, which I'm sure Matt's going to be reading. We have The Flash 11. We have
which I'm sure Matt's going to be reading.
Oh, he is.
Flash over Green Arrow, but we'll see.
Harley Quinn 42. We got Zatanna Bring Down the House, which I'm realizing I always say Bringing Down the House.
Yeah.
Without thinking about it, but yeah,
You're just a Cars fan.
All right. We also have Batman Brave and the Bold 15. We have Absolute Power Task Force 7 issue 2, Power Girl issue 11, Batman Dark Age issue 4. We have Absolute Power Origins issue 1. So we have
What
another
the hell is that cover?
separate one.
Yeah, all those
time.
covers look like that. They're photorealistic type stuff. It's weird.
That's John Ridley writing that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going to read it, but
Check it out. But that cover is not doing it any favors.
No.
It's like a weird. I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah, it's just
It
weird.
looks like an Oscar bait movie poster.
Yes.
They take the comics out of it, and it looks like, oh man, this looks like a really sad story.
Hey, but Matt, we got Nice House by the Sea issue 1 next week, so
yes, we do.
That's something that's happening. Batman Wayne Family Adventures chapter 1, 2, 2. We got Catwoman the Legacy Kill issue 1.
What is that?
I have no idea what that is. Blue Beetle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked on the Legacy card to see what it was, and the first sentence is fans of the digital blockchain comics and collectibles can enjoy the launch of Candy Digital's next chapter.
Oh, no thanks.
Yeah,
hard pass. Nope, no thank you.
Yeah, and then everything else after that here's a reprint of some form for SDCC. So there you go. That's what's coming next week from DC Comics.
Well, I for one am excited for Zatanna and Detective Comics.
I would not be surprised though, because Comic-Con next weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's this week, right?
Was it all? Is it over now? So I would not be surprised if
it's this weekend. Yes, it's today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised
right
if we get a couple of extra little bits, like maybe that Ram V book.
Yeah.
Possibly.
If they do that, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's wishful thinking, though. Maybe they're saving it till next, like close to the next solicits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends what they want to do, I suppose. Especially if maybe some of them are like, oh, we have to wait until something happens in Absolute Power before we can announce something.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
Yeah.
They've done before though, where they've just done like they've announced the book in like redacted details.
Yes. Well, I mean, if they have to solicit it because it's getting to that time, but clearly that's not happened yet. If that is the case.
Yeah.
So. There you go, everyone. That is the show. That's been your 3-hour plus episode with all three of us on. So a treat, maybe. I'm sure once Connor started talking about Jamal Campbell's art, everyone said, "You know what?"
I guarantee you, at least one person out there is on my side.
I'm sure.
I'm honestly,
What if it's Jamal Campbell's again? I'm gonna go for it.
I'm so amazed that you two didn't think that. It shocked me.
You know what? Do me a favor. When you get your glasses in, go back and read it.
I've never touched an issue again in my life.
Well, hey, Patreon people, you know what you need to do.
This has been Comics From The Multiverse, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. We always appreciate it. And, keep reading DC Comics. And remember to never raw dog it in the Speed Force.